Gotta remember to get back into doing this. Also, welcome, welcome. Thanks for the first. Don't know if there's any competition today, but thank you for the first. Wait. I gotta label it as just chatting, and then I gotta just chat for a little while. I think that's the good habit to get into. I was gonna say, I thought I hadn't seen you in a while, but... I know my, I have my core hours that I stream around, but starting and ending tends to, vary for sure. Oh, internet issue, okay. Well, I hope it's a little better now. Okay, let's see, it is in fact Monday, isn't it? Yeah, I was like, what have I been up to? I was... Let's see. So from the Friday stream, Saturday, I went and saw Borderlands. Well, I got my laundry started. Then I went and saw Borderlands, which surprisingly I'm like, you could see the Borderlands avatars. I'm a huge fan of Borderlands, and the movie gave me no reaction. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It just was a movie that exists. Which is, I think, the worst spot to be at. It means they tried to play it as safe as possible and came out with nothing. So yeah, would not recommend the Borderlands movie at all. So, dadgummit, it looks so good. Why do I have to know talented people? Why can't I be the talented people? Dadgummit. There's somebody making my character already. And then all I have is this nonsense. Because I have no clue what I'm doing. Sister got a PS5. And bought... something. So we played together. Sword of Truth. Sea of Thieves. I should have known that. I don't know why I was not thinking of Sea of Thieves there. That's kind of been the game. I mean, maybe one day I'll have a game that I come back to on a regular basis. I guess that's sort of Borderlands. But I kind of just do the story and then call it good. I don't get into a ton of multiplayer shenanigans and stuff. Oh, let's see. So after Borderlands, I went and I wanted to watch like an actual movie. So I pulled up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which was a much more artistically driven movie. Second place is closing in on you. Yeah, looks like it by orders of magnitude less, but I don't know if you want your allowance right now or not, but yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was awesome. And I don't even know that was my first brush with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it was partially because I know the lead creative writer. Okay, you already got it. I was gonna say, if you only want $9.99, you can have it. I know you're gonna complain, so there's the extra 9 for you. Because you don't have enough money already. The rich keep getting richer. Eat the rich. Let's see. Oh, I did a solo board game. That's what it was. I tried playing, No Eating You? Oh, drat. Maybe later. But I tried playing, Chemical Overload as a solo board game. And, I don't think I entirely got all the rules. I think I mostly got all the rules, but I don't think I entirely got all the rules. But it was still fun to try. Like, I don't get a chance to do, like, the bigger strategic games, so it was fun to try to just do it solo, even if I didn't figure it out. So, Superliminal, that's a fun one. Like, watching a critique of it, and it was like, yeah, I guess it's not the most brain-bustingly hard puzzle game. But I thought it was fun. I thought the story was good. At least I enjoyed it when I played it, for sure. I do like my first-person puzzle games, even if I haven't played one in a while, actually. Had pretty good puzzles. See, it's the thing. I'm like, I remember having fun with it. But I don't entirely remember a lot of the puzzles, necessarily. Obviously, I remember the main mechanic. I do remember one room that I just absolutely filled with apples. That I don't know if that was the intended solution or not, but I just absolutely dumped the room full of apples. It got tinier and tinier too, so it was just this very huge mountain of tiny apples. That's what I remember from that game. Let's see, I guess I could look at my journal. I could look at any photos I did as well. And, does the room have a fan? Which room? Having a fan? I was like, you shouldn't be, like, if you're hearing fan noises, that's my computer. I don't have any other fans going around here. Oh, the room with the apples. I don't remember. It's been a long while since I played Superliminal. I played it pretty shortly after it came out, I think. I think it was like a solitary apple in the middle of the room, and then like a ramp. And then it was to try to figure out how to use the, like, I want to say it was like glued in place or whatnot. It was like a fixed apple. And then you had a ramp, and then you could make more apples. And I don't think I solved it correctly, but I think I managed to mash my way through it anyway. So, did the solution completely wrong? Okay. That might just be that puzzle. It's easy to goof up. Oh, clone the firebolt thing. Okay. That's probably how you're supposed to do it, honestly. The apple was just a red herring. You're supposed to clone the apple at an angle. I remember doing that. Because I remember you get like the stairs of items and stuff too. Where you just keep cloning an item. As it gets smaller and smaller, and then suddenly you have a ramp. Which is neat. Oh, and then I don't think I did anything Sunday. I don't remember what I did. Well, I read some more of Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which continues to be really slow. But I'm determined to finish it. Oh, I got my journal updated. That's something I did on Sunday. Oh, and I've been playing Disc Room again. I cheesed the final boss. I made the final boss easy, which let me play more of Disc Room, which was fun. Yeah, I didn't really do anything with Sunday. My plan was to work on a YouTube video to actually do some whatchamacallit. My plan was to actually do some, make a YouTube video, and I just didn't, so. Started playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. Heard those games are fun. Yeah, if I were to get a PlayStation, it would be Shadow of the Colossus, Bloodborne are the two that are like definitely top of mind if I ever had a PlayStation. It's like, thanks for the quee. Yeah, see, there's somebody who knows what they're doing, and here's my attempts where I don't know what I'm doing. So, hey, congrats on the 5. You just earned 9,999. 5 sure seems like a great reward. Okay. I think this was kind of what I was doing here, so. Did it jump when you did Yippee? I was assuming it jumped when you did jump, because you have 2 jumps in there. So. Yeah, I should start putting the music on this screen just so that it's known what I'm listening to, just in case if anybody's curious.
Control Z will undo an action, and Control Shift Z will redo the action. So we can move with G, we can rotate with R, and we can scale with S. I remember G by thinking G is for grab. I recommend getting used to using shortcuts, but we can also use these tools on the side. And if you don't see these, hit T or click and drag this arrow. You can hover over them to see what they are, or you can pull it up further. So we have the move, rotate, and scale options right here. And when you click them while an object is selected, you'll see a gizmo that lets you control stuff. The arrows on the side will lock it to that axis. So we have the X, we have the Y, and the Z. And they are red, green, and blue. Try to remember X, Y, Z, RGB for red, green, and blue. In Blender, Z is up, but in Minecraft and a lot of other 3D programs, Y is up. It's a pretty controversial topic in the 3D community, and if you bring it up publicly, you might...
Oh, I'm assuming that the character jumped, just, you know, delayed from, you typed jump, you typed yippee, and then it took that long for it to go before the jump actually went through.
Start a fight. Anyway, the white circle lets you move it based on the angle you're viewing it from, and these rectangles let you move it on 2 axes at the same time. I'm going to add a few mesh objects with Shift A and move them around so they aren't overlapping, and we'll end up using these to make a simple flower. If you ever want to duplicate an object, left click and press Shift D. A duplicate should appear when you move your mouse, and you can place it with left click or leave it in its original spot by right clicking. The rotate tool is similar, where you have a circle for each axis, and the white circle rotates based on the view, and if you click and drag the center, you get what's called trackball rotation. Scale is the same as moving, except the white circle will scale your object uniformly, so it doesn't get all warped. You can also click and hold this tool to pick the scale cage tool, which lets you scale from different points. And then there is the transform tool that gives you all of the options. Let's use the scale tool to flatten this icosphere so it looks a little more like a flower petal. Now I'll press 7 to look from the top, and I'll move this to the center. And we can start duplicating with Shift D, move it here, and then rotate it either with the rotate tool or by hitting R. And I'll just make a few of these in a circle around the center to make it look kind of like flower petals. Let's set this back to select now. If you want any of these transform gizmos to be visible all the time, you can turn them on up here under the gizmo menu. And I personally like to leave the move one on. When you're transforming an object, you can also lock to an axis. So hit G, and while you're moving, you can hit X, Y, or Z to lock to that axis. You can also hit G and hold the middle mouse button to snap to the nearest axis. If you hit Shift and X, Y, or Z, then it will move on every axis except the one that you pressed. For example, G and Shift X will make it move only on the Y and the Z axis. And this works for rotating and scaling as well. And if you hit R to rotate and then...
I'm gonna go because EP. Yep, makes sense. Goodbye, good night. Thanks for stopping by. Have fun sleeping. Bye.
R again, that's how you enter trackball rotation. When you move, rotate, or scale, you can also start typing numbers. For example, G, X, and 1 will move on the X-axis by 1 meter. R, Z, and 45 will rotate on the Z-axis by 45 degrees. And S2 will double the scale. And don't forget that you can always hit right-click or escape to make it not apply if you just want to cancel the action. While transforming an object, you can hold Shift to move slower and with more precision, and you can hold Control to snap it to the grid. Shift and Control at the same time will snap, but in smaller amounts. I'll talk more about snapping options later. Let's use some of these tips to finish our flower. So let's add in another icosphere with Shift A under Mesh, Icosphere, and then we can look from the top and make sure this is in the right spot by moving it with G, and we can scale it down until it looks like a good size. Make sure to check from the front and the side also, and this seems like it's in a good spot. Now we can take the cylinder and just move it a little closer like this. And again, make sure to check from the front and the side by hitting 1 on the numpad. Now let's make this skinnier by hitting S to scale, and then Shift Z, and that will make it scale on only the X and the Y, and we can use this like a stem. So now we have a very simple flower shape, and as we move forward, we'll be able to make more complex things. Let's also start a floating island made out of cubes. So this one's going to be very simple. We can just hit Shift A under Mesh, choose a cube, and we can move it to the side with G. Now I'll just scale this up just a little with S. Now I'll duplicate this with Shift D, hit Z to move it up, and we can hit S and Shift Z to scale it out like that, and S, Z to flatten it down on the Z axis like this. So this is just going to be the top part of our floating island like that. And if any of these shortcuts are confusing, remember you can use these tools on the side. You can reset the location, rotation, and scale of your objects with Alt-G, Alt-R, and Alt-S, and this will make them their original size and shape again. You can select objects with left click, and you can select more than one object by holding Shift and left-clicking multiple things. You'll notice that when multiple things are selected, one of them is yellow and the rest are orange. The yellow one is what we call the active selection, and if you shift-click an object that isn't the active selection, it will become the active selection, and when you shift-click the active selection, it deselects it. The selection tool is enabled by default in this menu, and it sets a box. You can use that by clicking and dragging on an empty spot of your viewport, and that will make a box. Or you can hit B, and that will prompt you to make a selection. So we can use that to select the top of our flower like this, and then we can rotate it a little. Hit C to circle select, using left click to select, and the scroll wheel to change the size of the circle, and when you're done, you can right click. Lasso select doesn't have a shortcut. Hit C to circle select, using left click to select, and the scroll wheel to change the size of the circle.
What was that? Everything in the circle?
And when you're done, you can right-click. Lasso select doesn't have a shortcut, and you can only get to it through the select menu or by changing the selection tool by clicking and holding to get these options. Pressing W is the shortcut to cycle through the tools. You can also select everything with A and deselect everything with Alt-A, or by clicking on empty space. Let's continue transforming shapes to make a simple tree. So we'll start out with a cylinder, and this will be the tree trunk. We can add in a cylinder right here. And we can change the radius to make it a little smaller, like this. And this is going to be kind of like a pine tree, so we can add in a cone. And let's set this to 16, and move it up like that. Now I think this should be bigger, so we can hit S to scale, and move it up a little bit, either with this gizmo or with G, and then Z. Now we have a simple pine tree, and we can just select all of it with box select by clicking and dragging, and we can hit G and X to just move it to the side. And don't forget to save your file. I mentioned that T opens up the tool panel on the left. Well, there is another panel on the right that you can open with N, or by pulling open this arrow. I'll add in a cube with Shift A. We have a few options here. At the top, there is item, where we can change location, rotation, and scale, as well as seeing the dimensions of our object. The dimensions are in meters, but if you want a different unit like feet, you can type in the number that you want and then put feet or FT after. And this works with a lot of different units. You can also do math in here, like 1 divided by 2, and it will give you 0.5. Another way of changing units is in the properties over here, but I recommend leaving it alone for now. Clicking and dragging down will let you select multiple fields, drag side to side to move the values, and shift and control work just like when you use G to move, which either change the values slower or snaps them to more even increments. If you have multiple objects selected and you want all of them to be affected by changes here, you can hold Alt while dragging side to side, and if you're typing values, just hold Alt while hitting Enter. This trick with the Alt button works in a lot of different places for affecting multiple objects, so try it out if you're ever feeling curious. The Tool tab will change depending on what tool you have selected, so if I select something over here, you'll see these options.
And then I forgot to change it to art now. There we go.
And View is where we have some camera options. The only one I want to show right now is this option called Lock Camera to View. We can check that and hit 0 on the numpad to look through our camera, and when we move around, the camera will follow. And when it looks like a good angle, make sure to uncheck it over here. Things in the toolbar and the N panel will change depending on what mode you're in, and we can see that by looking up here. Right now we're in object mode, and we'll mostly stay in this mode for this video, but if you click it, you'll be able to see what the other modes are. Next video, I'll talk all about edit mode, which is where we model to make more complex shapes. Right next to that, we can change the editor type, and if you hover over this, it will tell you that this is the 3D viewport. You can change the editor type by selecting from the list, but Blender also has some pre-made workspaces for you. That's what all of these tabs are. For example, when you start making more complex materials, you can click on the shading tab, or you can stay in layout mode and change the editor type to the shader editor. I'll just change it back to the 3D viewport. You can also move windows around, as well as adding and removing them. Move them by hovering over where two windows meet until the cursor turns into arrows, and then you can click and drag. You can add new windows by hovering over a corner. The cursor will turn into a crosshair shape, then you can click and drag. This will either split the window that you drag onto, or it will join the windows. If you're splitting a window and you decide that you don't want to, you can cancel it by right-clicking. I have a hard time controlling it, so I usually right-click on a corner or where two windows meet, and you can select what you want to do from this list. By default, we actually have a few other editor types available to us. Down here is the timeline, which gives us time options for when we're making videos. Over here we have properties, which let us change a bunch of stuff about our scene and the objects we're using. And it has a ton of options, so I'm only going to show stuff as we need it. Up here is the outliner, and it's like a list of all the stuff we have in our scene. Yellow icons are objects, and if you hit the arrow, it'll show more info about the object, like what type it is or if it has a material. You can click on them in here to select them in the 3D viewport. You can name objects by double-clicking or by selecting them and hitting F2. And this works in the viewport or the outliner. If you want to organize your scene, you can make collections, which are basically like folders. And to make a collection, click this button right here, right-click, and select New Collection, or hover over the outliner and hit C. You can then rename it and drag objects into it. You can also put collections inside other collections, just like folders on your computer. Let's select our flower and put it into its own collection.
Yeah, okay, so it is doing all these different parts as its own thing. And I'm like, I want you to be parented under this. Yeah, why does it look like it's parented and then it doesn't act like it? Weird. Well, because I'll still want to parent it under, like, an empty object, right? At some point? I guess we'll see.
To select everything in a collection, you can right-click it and select Objects. You can move objects into collections from the viewport by selecting something and hitting M for Move. Deleting collections is the same as deleting objects. You can just select them and hit X. These icons let you toggle things about your objects and collections, like the eye that makes them visible or not, and the camera, which makes them not show up in the renders. You can also add more or remove options with this filter drop-down right here. And then the search bar for if you want to find something and you know what its name is. In the viewport, we have some other view options. Right now we're in solid view, which makes everything look gray, and it's supposed to make it easier to see objects while modeling. We also have wireframe, material preview, which people also call look dev, and rendered view. And we also have X-ray right here, which will make your models see-through in solid and wireframe view. Rendered view is what your scene will look like when it's rendered, and material preview has sample lights and an environment texture, and people mostly use this to test out shading and lighting. Rendering is kind of like taking a picture or a video of your scene, and if you go to render image, a window will pop up showing your scene the way that it looks through your camera. And you can go to image, save as, if you want to save the picture somewhere. There are a ton of render settings that can change the results you get, but that's a topic for a different video. This arrow gives you options for each of the views, but solid view has the most useful one in my opinion. At the top you can change how the lighting looks or add a matte cap, which makes it look like a different material. I personally prefer using this one right here. I also like turning cavity on and setting it to both, which adds some shading that defines edges and makes it easier to determine the angle of faces. You can check out viewport overlays for a bunch of other options. I'll show more of these in the next video though. If you want to change the color of your object, go into material preview, select one of your primitive shapes, and you can add a new material by clicking on the material properties tab and clicking the new button. This will add object, go into material preview, select one of your primitive shapes. You can check out viewport overlays for a bunch of other options. I'll show more of these in the next video though. If you want to change the color of your object, go into material preview, select one of your primitive shapes, and you can
How did it decide on that? Because I don't recall making that red. But okay. So, like, can I make this green?
You can add a new material by clicking on the material properties tab and clicking the new button. This will add
Okay, there, material properties and then new. Oh, it has to think real hard about that. Okay. Yeah, okay, I did in fact eat too many marshmallows as a dessert. Ah. Oh, it's not Gnome Spin. What am I doing? Gnome 3D reference, right? Reference 3D. Yeah, there we go. I was working on the. Oh, that one doesn't show up. That should be it, kinda, sorta, maybe. Meaning it should actually be under... Yeah, here. Yeah, I don't think that's exactly right, but that might also be just the shading is completely borked. There, rounded out to look more like ears, I guess? I don't know. Oh, and that's what I was actually doing, was stealing this green color off of here and slapping it in here. Do you complain if I do the... No, okay, good. You don't complain about it. The other one was complaining about it. Okay. I don't think this is exactly how I should be going about this, but... See, that's the thing. It's like I made a good reference. Somebody else is able to figure out this to make the model. Like, it sure seems like I made a pretty good reference, though.
Add a lot of options that you don't have to worry about right now. Just know that you can change the color with this base color option. You can change the material name up here, and you can switch to a different material with this dropdown that will show the other materials that you've created. You can add a material to multiple objects by selecting them, and then shift selecting the object with the color that you want them all to have, and that should be an active selection with a yellow outline. Then press Ctrl L and link the materials. Let's add some color to the objects that we already have in the scene. So I want green for the stem. I'll click the new button and rename this green 1, and we can get a green color like this. I'll do the same thing for this tree, but I want it to have a slightly different green, so I'll call it green 2. And I'll make this a little closer to blue right here, and also make it a little darker. We can have brown for the trunk right here. Rename this brown, and select a brown color. That will be close to orange right here, and then we can desaturate it and also make it darker. And then I want a grass color for the top. We can just select the one that we used for the stem of our flower. In this, I want to be kind of a dark color, so we'll have brown 2. And I'll make it a brown color, but I want it to be a lot lighter. This next part will be a little more advanced, and I'm just going to start throwing out a bunch of tips while we add stuff to our scene. All of these tips will be in the PDF that you can download, so don't worry about memorizing everything. Each mesh object will have an origin point, and that's what this little dot is in the center. If you hit N to open this panel, the location here is showing where the origin point is, and it's also what your object pivots around when you rotate it. Let's delete this and add in a cone with Shift A, and I'll just move it up. This will end up being another tree. If we wanted this cone to pivot from the bottom, we can move the origin point, and one way is by going to this tool tab and checking Affect Only Origins. Now we can move the origin to a different spot with G, and I'll hit Z -1 and enter to move it down 1 meter on the Z axis. And when it looks good, just make sure to uncheck this. Now when we rotate with R, you can see that it's pivoting from the bottom. We can also move the origin by right-clicking, Set Origin, and we have these options right here to center it. I'll talk about what the 3D cursor is in a little bit, and for now I'll just choose Origin to Center of Mass Volume, and you can see that it's a little closer to the center. I'll just hit Ctrl Z to move it back to where it was originally. You can also go into edit mode up here, or by hitting Tab, select everything with A, and move with G. When you move things in edit mode, the origin will stay in the same spot. And like I said, we'll talk more about edit mode in the next video. Let's make another pine tree. So I'm actually just going to delete this, and I'll select both of these by clicking and dragging, and Shift D to duplicate, then X, and I'll just move it back closer to the center. And because I duplicated them, they already have the same materials too. I'd like to duplicate this a few times, so let's hit Shift D, Z, and then move it up a little bit, and I'll left click or press enter when I'm done. Now if we hit Shift R, Blender will repeat the last action we did, and we can press this as many times as we want. This only repeats the last action though, so if we move it and we rotate it, Blender will only recognize the rotation because that was the most recent action. There's an option up here called proportional editing. Let's turn that on by clicking it or pressing O. If we select and scale the top cone with S, you'll see that multiple are being scaled at once, but with a fall off so that the cones that are further away are scaling less. There's a circle called the area of influence, and you can change that with the scroll. Blender will only recognize the rotation because that was the most recent action. There's an option up here called proportional editing. Let's turn that on by clicking it or pressing O. If we select and scale the top cone with S, you'll see that multiple are being scaled at once, but with a fall off so that the cones that are further away are scaling less. There's a circle called the area of influence, and you can change that with the scroll wheel. Scrolling up makes the circle smaller, and scrolling down makes it larger. I'll just hit right click to cancel this. The fall off is set to smooth right now, but we can change it to get different shapes. Feel free to play around with each one. I'll set this to linear for the tree right here, and I'll just select the top one, hit S to scale, and then Shift Z so that it's scaling on the X and the Y, and I'll scroll down until this is big enough to be affecting all of the cones. And I just want to scale this so that none of them are overlapping, maybe like that. And this gives us like a pretty nice shape right here. Random is a little different and just causes chaos, but it can be nice for making a lot of objects look different. And proportional editing also works with moving and rotating. It might be a little easier to understand if you make something like a fence. So let's turn this off briefly, select our tree, and just move it to the side over here. So let's make a fence by adding in a cube with Shift A, going to Mesh, Cube, and I want the origin point to be on the bottom. So I'll hit Tab to go into edit mode. Make sure you select everything with A, G, Z, and then 1. And this will move it up on the z-axis by 1 meter, and by default our cube is 2 meters by 2 meters, so I know this will place the origin directly on the bottom, and this is good because now it's pivoting from the bottom, and when we scale it, it will always scale from the bottom. So let's hit S to scale, Shift Z, and that will scale it on the X and the Y, and we can just make it pretty thin like this. Now let's hit Shift D to duplicate X, and we can just drag it to the side a little like this, and then we can hit Shift R a few times just to have a few fence posts. Now we can select the middle one and turn proportional editing back on, and when we hit S and Z, you can see that it's scaling the other ones. Now I'll scroll up to make this circle smaller, and you can see exactly the shape that it's making right here. So if instead of being smooth, you want it to be sharp, you could set it to sharp like this, and it will make this shape that you see on the icon right here. So S and Z, and you can see it's a little pointier. Or we can make it spherical like this, so it'll be kind of like a circle, S and Z. So I'll just scale this up a little bit right there, and I'll select all of it by clicking and dragging. And I'll move it back a little so we don't accidentally go into these objects. I'll turn proportional editing off, and then I'll hit Shift D, X, and just move it to the side over here. And I'll repeat this action with Shift R a few times to make the fence a little longer. Now let's select all of this and add it to its own collection. Select all of it, hit M to move, and you can choose new collection, and we can just name it fence. You can see over here now we have a fence collection, and if we want, we can turn it on and off, do whatever you want with it to organize it. Let's make another tree by starting with an icosphere and duplicating it a few times with Shift D. Right click to make the duplicate go back to where it started, and then you can hit Shift R a few times, and you can see in the outliner it's adding more icospheres, but they're all in the same place. Let's select all of these, go to the object menu, transform, and randomize transform. You can also search for this with F3. A little box will open up when you do this, and it'll let you randomize all of these values, affecting all of the objects that you have selected. So let's change some of these values. I'll click and drag down so we're selecting both, and then I'll move them side to side like this, maybe about 1.5 meters, and I'll do the same thing on the Z, about 1 meter. Let's click and drag down on the scale, and you can see this is making it so that every axis is randomized, but if we set this to scale even right here, now they'll all scale up and down and not distort at all. So I'll push this up a little higher, maybe like 1.3, and if we don't like the shape that it's making, we can change this seed up here until we think it looks good. And if any of these values seem wrong for you, you can change them however you see fit. I think this one looks pretty good, so let's hit G, Z, and drag it up a little, and then we can add in a cylinder to use for the tree trunk. I'll hit S to scale, Shift Z to make it skinnier, and then SZ to make it a little taller, and I'll also hit G and Z to drag it up a little like that. Now let's select all of these with click and drag, hit M to move it to its own collection, and we can add a new collection called tree and hit OK. You can see over here now we have a separate collection called tree.001, and that's because we already had a tree collection, so we can't have two collections that are named the same thing. And if you try, it'll just name it a little differently like that. Let's go to material preview and make sure that these actually have colors. So with all of these selected, let's shift select one of these icospheres, go to material properties right here, and click the drop down and add green right here. Now we can hit Control L because everything is still selected, and press link materials. So everything will turn green. We just want to select this one and change this one to brown. And I'll go back into solid view. If we want to reset the transform for all of these objects, we can select them and press Alt G to reset the location, Alt R to reset the rotation, and Alt S to reset the scale. If you do this with the N panel open on the item tab, you can see these values changing. Let's back up though, because what if you want some of these objects to stay the way they are in a more permanent way? For that, you can hit Control A, and this will let you apply the location, rotation, the scale, or all of them. If I apply the scale of this one, you can see over here the scale was reset to 1, but our object looks the same. So this is like the new default scale now, and if we try to reset it with Alt S, it will always go back to this shape. This was only for the scale though, so we can still reset the location and the rotation. Applying the location will move the origin.
Howdy, howdy. I'm, found a good Blender video that I, was, finished the blackout for the gnome. I did pull up that. I don't know if you had another one that was a little more, Oh, okay, yeah, you did have that. Yep, that's it. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking to make. Maybe with a few more polys. But I was like maybe a little rounder. And then obviously it would still need the materials, but so now let's let's see if I can get there is the question. Yeah, I was like this is the abomination that I started. So, of which I just took some, I guess I could put reference under its own folder thing. Okay, wait, that was, if I do this and then, I get this, and this, and then is it M? Yeah, okay, it is M. And then reference. There we go. So now I can just turn off the reference. Okay, so I want you there, and then I turn off the reference. There. That's how far I've gotten. Ta-da! It's sort of a fire hydrant there, but this is suffering. What, just me watching a YouTube video? But You don't model stuff by stacking shapes on top of each other? Well, that's how you don't... It's not how you correctly model stuff. That's, I haven't gotten that far in the video. They're still doing, whatchamacallit. Oh, that's the only other thing I did. I tried doing a top-down view. I think it sort of works. But I was like, I don't think this is correct at all. But I'm like, I'm still just kind of watching the video, and I was like, well, it's at least
Origin
something
point to the
play
center of the
around
world,
with,
and you'll
so.
see these values change to 0. And applying the rotation will set these values to 0, but the object will stay looking like it's rotated.
And I mean, that's vaguely
There are
what's
many reasons
happening
to
here.
apply or to not apply the transforms, enough so that I made a whole video about it a while back. Sometimes your scene can get hard to navigate when you have a bunch of objects, so you can hide objects by selecting them and hitting H. If you have an eye icon in the outliner, you'll notice it toggle for objects that are hidden, and you can show them again by clicking the icon or by pressing Alt-H. Shift-H will hide everything except for what you have selected, and again, this is nice when you have a ton of things in your scene, and you can bring everything back with Alt-H. You can find all of these options under Object, Show, /Hide. Keep in mind that when objects are hidden, they still appear when you render unless you toggle the camera icon off. Similar to Shift-H, you can hit / on the number pad, and this will isolate the selected object, and you can exit this by hitting / again. Blender calls it Local View, and you can also find it here under View, Local View, Toggle Local View. This works when you have multiple objects selected also. Let's select this and move it to the side. And for the next example, let's make a roof for a house. I want the roof to be slanted, so let's hit Shift-A to add in a mesh, and we'll add in a cylinder. Now this is circular, so let's open up this panel over here and change the vertex count all the way down to 3. And you can see now that it's a triangle. So let's just rotate this on the X by 90 degrees, so you can hit R, X, 90, and then enter. I hit 1 to look from the front, and I'll hit G, Z to drag it up, and I'll hit N to open up the side panel, and I want all of these dimensions to be 2, so I'll just select all of them and hit 2. Let's hit S, Z, and then 0.5, and that will scale it down by half, and then we can hit enter. So I think the slope is a little better now. Let's add in a cube now with Shift-A, Mesh, Cube, and I'll hit S, X, and we can scale this down to make it skinnier this way, and I'm going to put this on top of the roof. So let's hit 1 again to look from the front, and we can drag this up here and rotate it with R until it kind of matches the slope over here. So if we decide that this cube needs to be a little bit longer, it being at an angle is a bit of a problem now. If we hit S and X to scale it on the X-axis, it gets long, but it also gets thicker. This is because all of the transformations are global by default. And what I mean by this is that when we scale something on the X-axis, the object will always scale in the direction of this red line in our world. That's the global X-axis. We can scale this on what's called the local X-axis by hitting S to scale, X, and then X again. And if you look up here, it'll even tell you whether it's global or local. And this seems like it's making it thicker, so let's try hitting Z and then Z again. And it seems like that's pushing it in the right direction now. So I'll make this a little smaller and then left click to confirm it. You can do this with moving, rotating, or scaling, and for any axis. So if we wanted to, we could just drag this up and eyeball it, or we could move it on the local Z axis with G, Z, and then Z again. When you transform something locally, Blender is looking at the object to see if it's already rotated, and moving it according to that instead of following the axis line that we can see in our world. When you toggle into local transform, Blender will even make a line up here to show you the direction you're moving it on. Another way to transform locally is with this drop down at the top. It's global by default, but you can switch it to a few other things, including local. Let's make this house look a little more complete. Let's select this top of the roof and hit S, Y, and then we can scale it out a little like that. Let's duplicate this for the other side with Shift D, R, Z, and 180 to flip it around 180 degrees on the Z axis, and then we can just move it over here. Let's add in a cube with Shift A, and this will be for the bottom part of the house. And let's hit G and Z and just move it up until it's in place. Let's duplicate this also with Shift D and move it up here to where the roof is meeting at the top. And I'll just scale this down. I want to make sure that it's covering these parts right here. And when we get a good size, let's hit S and Y and we'll just scale it out a little further to kind of cover up some of those parts. When I showed how to set the origin with right click, I said I'd talk more about what the 3D cursor is. The 3D cursor is this crosshair looking thing in the middle, and it can be used for all sorts of things. We can move it by holding Shift and right clicking. Now if we want, we can move the origin point over here just like before by selecting this, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. We can also move the 3D cursor with this tool over here, and again, hit T to see these if you can't. This tool lets you left click to place it. Another way is in the N panel. Under View, there's a section for changing the location and the rotation. I like to reset the 3D cursor with Shift S, and you can choose Cursor to World Origin, and it will place it where the axis lines meet. Now let's move our origin point back with right click, set origin to 3D cursor. You can also use the Shift S menu to move the cursor to an object, or to move an object to the cursor. And this is really useful when it comes to modeling. So the origin is the pivot point by default, but you can change that by hitting period. Not the one on the numpad, but the one over here. And you can find these options up here also. The ones I use most are median, individual origins, and 3D cursor. Median is what we've been using, and it'll use the origin point as the pivot point, unless you have multiple objects selected. Then it will pivot around a point in between all of them. And that's where this line is leading to. And the pivot point also affects scaling, so it'll scale from that point. Hit period again, and individual origins makes it so when you have multiple things selected, they will rotate or scale separately. And then the 3D cursor will use the 3D cursor as the pivot point. Active element will make everything rotate or scale around the active selection, which will be highlighted in yellow. Bounding box is kind of like median, except it's more of an estimation, as if you put a big box around everything that's selected and chose the center of the box to pivot around. Only locations makes it so objects won't be scaled or rotated, and if you try to scale or rotate, they will just get pushed around. And again, if you want to leave this menu without selecting anything, you can just right click. And when you're done with only locations, make sure that you turn it off and set it back to median point. Let's select the house and move it to the side, and let's make a well with some of the tips that I just showed. So let's add in a cube with
Wait, was that shift was doing that, or I did not catch what the shortcut was for getting that menu. It wasn't right click. Well, I don't know exactly how I would use that menu, but
So the origin is the pivot point by default, but you can change that by hitting period. Not the one on the numpad, but
oh,
the one
period,
over here.
that's what
And you can
said.
find these options up here. Also, S to pivot, scalar, just right and point. Let's select the house and move it to the side. And let's make a well with some of the tips that I just showed. So let's add in a cube with Shift A and press S and X to scale it out like this until it's a little more shaped like a brick, and then we can scale it down to be quite a bit smaller. Let's also go into material preview mode and add a gray color to this. So we can click the new button, name this gray, and just make this a gray color. And then we'll go back into solid view. Press period to change the pivot points to the 3D cursor, and then I'll hit 7 to look from the top. And what we're going to do is move the brick on the Y axis a little with G and Y, and I'll create a circle of bricks now by duplicating with Shift D. And before I press anything else, hit R to rotate around the 3D cursor, and I'll rotate it by 30 degrees by typing in 30 and pressing enter. Now we can repeat this action with Shift R until our circle is complete. Let's look from a different angle now. Select all of these, hit Shift D and then Z to move it up on the Z axis until it looks like it's resting on the top. Make sure all of these are still selected and hit R, Z, and 15. That will rotate it so they're staggered about halfway, or you can just hit R and Z and then eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now let's make this a little taller by selecting everything, hit Shift D and then Z again, and we can move this up once more. And if we want to make it even taller, we can hit Shift R to add 2 more layers like that. If any of this was overwhelming, don't worry too much. All of this gets easier with practice. Now we can make it look like there's water in the well by adding a cylinder with Shift A. Make sure that it has enough vertices. I'll add 16. Scale it with S so that it fits between the bricks, G and Z to move it up. And we're still using the 3D cursor right here as the pivot point, so we can hit S and Z and it will scale towards the pivot point like that. And this is how we can change the water level. I'll change the pivot point back with period, and we can change it to median point. And now go back to material preview, and we'll just change this to a blue color for water. When we move an object with G while holding control, it snaps to 1 meter increments, and you can change those snapping options up here. First, if you click this magnet, your objects will snap all the time, not only when you're holding control. And for the increment option, I like turning on absolute grid, which makes it so that it always snaps to a point on the grid. I'm going to start another house to explain these options, so let's select the well and just move it to the side. Let's press Shift A to add in another cube, and I'll hit G, Z, and 1 to move it up by 1 meter. Then I'll hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll drag it to the side, and S, Shift Z, and make it skinnier, kind of like a pillar. So if we set the snapping to vertex and hold control while moving with G, we can snap to the points of this cube. I'll talk more about vertices, edges, and faces in the next video. So if we set the snapping to vertex and hold control while moving with G, we can snap to the points of this cube. I'll talk more about vertices, edges, and faces in the next video, but basically each corner has a vertex. These lines are the edges, and faces are these flat planes on the sides. And this is set to closest, which means the closest point on our selected object is what is going to snap. So that would be this point right here.
Okay. That seems quite useful.
If instead we move it up here and then hit G and hold control to snap it, now this is the closest point, and you can see that it's acting a little differently. The other useful one is center, which makes it snap to the origin point instead. So let's select the pillar and hit Shift D to duplicate, and hold control while you move this around to snap it to each corner. So Shift D, hold control, and Shift D and hold control. Now let's select all of these with Shift and left click, hit G, Z, and 1 to move them up 1 meter so they're aligned with the rest of the cube. Align rotation to target makes your selected object rotate based on what you're snapping it to. Out of all of the things you can snap to, I probably use increment and face project the most. If we set this to face project and closest, it's pretty good for when you want to place objects onto the surface of another object, so we can move this with G and hold control, and it'll snap the nearest face onto the object that you're choosing. You can also align rotation to target with this, and I changed it to center also. And you can see now that it's rotating differently for each of these faces. Align rotation to target will be a little more clear when you're using something like a cone, so let's hit Shift A and add in a cone, and let's just bring this over to the well so I can show you a little more clearly. Hit period on the numpad, and I'll scale this down, and when I hit G and hold control, you can see that it's always going to stick straight out. Let's delete this cone now with X. Let's select our house that we're working on and hit period on the numpad to zoom in closer. And let's give this house a roof and some bricks. So let's just select this and duplicate it with Shift D, and I'll move it up with G, Z, and I'll hold control, and that will snap it to the top face. And again, I have this set to center, and I'll turn off align rotation to target for now. Now let's hit S and Z. We can scale this down a little. S, Shift Z to scale it out past the pillars. Now let's duplicate this, and we're going to turn this into a brick. So I'll hold control to snap it to the edge, and I'll just scale this down until I think it looks like a good size. So that seems like a good width, but I want to scale it up. So S and Z, like that. And I'll make it flatter with S and Y. Now I'll press 1 on the numpad to look from the front, and we can just move this with G to wherever we want it, and hit Shift D to duplicate for if we want multiples. I'll just put a few in the corner like that. Now I'll look from the side and Shift D and hold control to snap it to this other side. Now we're gonna have to rotate this, so R, Z, and 90, and we can hit 3 to look from the side, but all of this stuff is in the way, so let's actually just select everything right here and hit slash on the numpad, and that will isolate it so that we can't see anything else. So we can hit 3 now and do the same thing over here with G to move it around, and, you know, Shift D to duplicate. Let's select 1 from the front, and Shift D and hold Control to snap it to the back side. Now we can hit 1, and that's going to look from the front. So if we want to look from the other side, you can hit 1 and then 9, and that will flip the camera all the way around. Again, just Shift D, move these around to where you want. I'll hit 3 to select one of the bricks from this side so we don't have to rotate it, and go to the other side and hit Shift D and Control. Now, if you don't want to go into orthographic view by hitting 3, instead you can just stay at an angle, and when you hit G to move it around, just make sure that you're holding Control at the same time, and it'll always snap to the surface right there. So let's hit Shift D, do the same thing, just make a few of these. And we can exit local view by hitting the slash on the numpad again. Sometimes you'll have a bunch of objects that belong together, and it makes sense that you'd want to be able to move all of them at the same time. So instead of shift selecting each object, we can do something called parenting. Let's select all of these objects and shift select the big cube in the middle so that it's the active selection. Press Control P and set parents to object. Now, if we go into X-ray mode, you can see all of these lines are connecting to our parent object right here. And if we move everything with G, all of the children will follow, and only the parent is selected when I'm doing this. Control P and set parent to object. Now, if we go into X-ray mode, you can see all of these lines are connecting to our parent object right here. And if we move everything with G, all of the children will follow, and only the parent is selected when I'm doing this. In the outliner, we have a lot of objects right now, so you can actually find the object that you have selected by hovering over here and hitting period on the numpad. It works just like when you hit period in the viewport, but you have to be hovering over the outliner. So in the outliner, all of the child objects will appear nested under the parent. You can also parent in the outliner by dragging and dropping an object onto another while holding Shift. You can make any of these objects not be parented by selecting them and pressing Alt-P and selecting Clear Parent. If you try to parent one object to another and it's already a child that's been moved around, you might see it move when you don't want it to. So press Control P and select Keep Transform, and this should keep it in the same spot visually while changing the parent. It's the same with unparenting also, so if we select this and hit Alt P and Clear Parent, you can see it snaps back to where it was originally. But if we want to unparent it and have it in the same spot, we can hit Alt P and select Clear and Keep Transformation. Now it's not a child anymore, but it's in the same spot. I'll hit Shift Z to undo so it parented again. Now if you want to select all of the children of a parent, you can select the parent and hit the right bracket. And you can select the parent again by pressing the left bracket. If you hold Shift while doing this, the selection will expand to select the parent and the children. Parenting gets really complex, and it's used for a lot of different reasons, especially if you get into rigging and animating. Let's use all of the tips from this video to complete our scene. I'll tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and at the end, I'll show you how to add a light and render an image. You can follow along if you'd like, but I also encourage you to try making something on your own. The more you practice all of this, the easier it will be, and the more natural it'll feel. Let's start by organizing some of these things. I'll just select the fence, and I'll just move it to the side so we can select some things more easily. Now I know that these two trees are in the same collection right here. What we can do is just parent all of these to the trunk so that whenever we want to move a tree, we don't have to select the whole thing, we can just select the trunk. So let's select these two, and shift select the trunk to make it yellow, which is the active selection, and Control P.
Set the gnome blend file if I want it. I will definitely give it a look. Oh yeah, because that'll also be telling me how to open it in. Yeah. So I could just import it into this scene, or I could just open it in its own scene. Let's just open it for now, and then at the bottom maybe? Yes. Oh, eyeballs. Some very 3D eyeballs. Yeah, I was thinking of doing slapping just some 2D sprites on there like I have with my other characters, but let's see, and then UV editing. Okay, so no materials, it looks like. Let's see, so could I figure out the materials easily enough? So then here, and then materials. Yeah, okay, so no materials there, but can add detail if you want, make some cuts, scale, detail, depth. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, it's like I would probably have done a little more symmetrical, like me, like a ball hands, basically, but that's also for me to mess with and figure out and see if I can. Although I think I still want to finish this tutorial here. There we go. Because I'm waiting for them to get around to the actual, like, here's how you actually modify the mesh instead of just move shapes around. Because I'm like, I was doing that in Paint 3D. If I wanted to do shapes, I could do shapes, but I'm like, no, no, no. I've seen how you
Parents to
actually use
object. Let's do
Blender.
the same thing with this right here, and then shift select to make it the active selection, control P, and set parent to object. Now when we move these around, we only have to select the trunk and everything else will follow. We can do the same thing for this tree right here, so select everything, shift select the trunk, control P, and set parent to object. And let's move all of these into one collection. So I'll select all of these once more and hit M and move to tree. Now our tree.001 is going to be empty. Select that.
But
and hit
I do
X to
appreciate
delete.
the
Let's go
model
into
to
material
mess with.
preview and see what textures we're missing. While you're doing all of this, don't forget to save with
Yeah,
Control
it's
S.
important to
Let's
know
change
the
colors
basics.
of our
That's
house.
what I'm
So let's
hoping
select
for.
everything right here and make sure that one of these is the active selection, so you can just shift click it until it's outlined in yellow. Now I want our houses to be blue, so we can just use the drop down right here and set it to blue. I think this is maybe a little too dark, so let's click this button right here. That will copy the material. Now you can see it's blue 1.001. Let's just rename this to blue 2, and we can come down here and I'll turn the value up and the saturation down a little. Now with all of these selected, we can hit Control L and select link materials. I want our roof to be a different color, so let's shift select the roof parts right here, and I'll make a new material for wood. So we can just click this X button right here, and that will clear the material that we have, and we can press new, and I'll name this wood, and we can make this whatever color we want. So I'll bring it close to orange. I'll turn the value down quite a bit and also the saturation. And I think this looks pretty good. So again, hit Control L and link materials. Now let's go to our other house over here. I'll select it and hit period on the numpad to zoom in, and let's add some colors to this also. So this one I know is going to be blue 2, and we can select all of these bricks. I'll just shift select all of them, and I'll set this to blue 1, so they're a little darker, and then I'll hit Control L and
Should
link
actually
materials.
sleep or
Now
something.
the top I'll make the wood color, so we have wood right here.
But like I said, I appreciate the model. I think it's fun enough that it is flattering to see, like, hey, something that I made was inspiring enough for somebody else to try making it. So, but yes, please do sleep. That's a healthy thing to do, especially because I'm mostly going to be watching YouTube tutorials. I'm assuming. So.
For the pillars, I'll select all of them, and I'll
Did
make
not
them
need
a
to stream
slightly
it, but-
paler color. Choose wood in the
I
drop
also
down,
didn't
and I'll press this button
feel
to
like
make
it
a
was
copy.
gonna hurt
and I'll change this to
anything to do
wood
so,
2, and I'll make it much more pale by turning the value up and the saturation down. Now let's hit Control L and link those materials also. So for our flower, we can select everything, and then shift select the stem right here, and Control P to parent to object. Now if we move the stem, everything will follow. We can do the same thing for the well, just select everything, and then I'll shift select the water last, and Control P, parent to object. For the fence, I'll just select everything, and then shift click one on the end, and Control P, and parent to object. For the house, I'll select everything, and then shift click the biggest part last at the bottom, and Control P, parent to object. And I'll do the same thing for this house right here. Let's make a door for our house. So for that, I want it to be the same color as the roof right here. So I'll just select that and hit Shift D to duplicate. Make sure snapping is set to face project and center, and then Control to snap it to the front right here. And we can just scale it down to be however wide we want our door to be. I'll hit S and then Z to make it thicker, S and Y to do that. Now I'll look from the front and just put this into place, maybe a little wider with S and X. I'll hit Shift D to duplicate it, and then R and 90. That will spin it around 90 degrees, and we can add some sides to the door. So S and Z to scale it up like that, and I'll duplicate this to the other side. If any of the bricks get in the way, you can just select them and move them over a little bit. I'll put it up here, push these a little further. I want a wide door. Now I want the center of the door to be a different color, so what we can do is just duplicate this part right here with Shift D, and then I'll bring it down, S and X to scale it down, and S and Z to scale it up until it fills everything. Now I want this to be sunken in a little, so let's hit S and Y like that. Let's make this the second wood color, so click
Thank you for the
drop down
follow.
and set that to wood too.
Like,
And if we want a doorknob,
I'm very, very new to Blender, so I'm just going to be watching YouTube tutorials for now, pretty much. But thank you for the follow.
we can add an icosphere or a UV sphere, but I like the icosphere. And I'll press G and hold Control to snap that to the front, and I'll hit S to scale it down. Now we can make this whatever color we want, but I know I have yellow in here already, so I'll have a yellow doorknob. And don't forget that if you want to make this smooth, you can right-click it while it's selected and shade smooth like that. I think this might look a little better if it's dark blue, so I'll select the drop-down and hit blue 1. Now I want our other house to have a door also, so let's select all of these, Shift Select, and I'll select the middle part of the door last, like this, and hit Control P and parent to object. Now with everything selected, I can hit Shift D to duplicate and just move it to the side over here. Now we only have to select the center of the door if we want to move it around because it's all parented up. So with that selected, I'll go over to our other house like this, and I'll hit G and hold Control. And because we're using snapping, I don't even have to see the door where it starts. I know that it'll just snap to where I want it like that. So we can just line it up over here. Now you can see there's a relationship line going all the way back. Something must be parent.
Okay, because now I'm like, is there a second video to this? Because it feels like there should be. Because this does not have... I'm like waiting for the mesh edits. That's what I... Okay, so this is all...
parented. Let's actually just select everything in here, select this big cube last, and hit Control P. Now, if we just try to parent it like this, some of it will snap back. So remember, Control P, object, keep transform like that, and that will make it so it stays put. Now I'll select everything right here and move it to the side, and I want to make a window. So I'll hit Shift A, mesh, and we'll add a torus this time. So this will add a donut shape, and let's open up this panel right here. And for the major segments, I'm going to turn those down quite a bit until it's 4. So this is actually going to look like a rectangle, and I'll leave this count to 12 like that. So this we can make the same color as the edge of our door. So I believe that's wood right here. And for the center part, I'll add another mesh. We'll set that to cylinder, and I want it to fit snugly inside of here. So we can set this to 4, and it should be the same shape. And we can just hit S and Z to scale it down like that until it's inside. Now this will be the glass part of our window, and we can set it to blue 2, but I think I'd like it to be even lighter. So let's duplicate this right here, and we can rename this to blue 3, and I'll just make this lighter by turning the saturation down quite a bit like that. Select both of these, shift select the center, so that one's the active selection, Control P, parent to object like that. Let's hit G and hold Control to snap it to the wall right here. Now this is going to be way too big, so let's scale it down quite a bit. R, Y, 90, and if you want to leave it like a diamond, you can do that, but if you want it to be a square, you can hit R, X, and then 45 like that. And we can add as many of these as we want. So if we wanted to, we could duplicate it with Shift D and hold Control and snap it to the other side as well. Now let's just make sure everything is parented up here. I have the lamp selected, so I'll just move it over. Box select everything, Shift select the cube, Control P, parent to object. And again, if it moves around like that, hit Control Z, Control P, and object keep transform. Let's move our other house a little closer so we can add some windows and bricks to this one also. Let's select both of these window parts and Shift D to duplicate, and then bring it over here and hold Control. Now I want it to be on the side, so we can put that here. I could put one on the front also with Shift D, hold Control, and I want to rotate it with R, Z, and 90. So we can have one right in the middle like that, and I think that's pretty good. Shift D, hold Control, snap it there. And we can add some bricks also, so let's select these, Shift D, and hold Control, and we'll put as many of these as we want. We can also select some on this side, Shift D, and hold Control like that. I'll select all of these and bring them to the other side, Shift D, hold Control, and I'll also do the same thing for the back. So select all of these, Shift D, and hold Control. Now let's make sure everything's parented up. You can see we have a bunch of relationship lines that are going to the wrong spot. So let's select everything over here, Shift select the big cube, Control P, and object keep transform. I think our fence might look a little better as a different color. So let's select all of these, Shift select the end one, and I'll change that to wood too, so it's that pale wood color. Control L, link materials. I think that's enough objects, so let's just select our houses and move it to the side like that. I'll select the big chunk of land over here, make sure that the big cube is the active selection, and I'll hit Control P to parent, and I'll hit Alt G to move that back to the center. So when we're duplicating a parent, it won't actually copy all of its children, so we still have to select everything. So let's select all of these, Shift D to duplicate, and I'll just move it over to the front. We'll create a few more of these floating islands. And let's make one more. Scale it down with S, and I think that's pretty good. Now we can just start dragging some of these things over. So let's go over to our houses, and I'm going to change the snap settings. So instead of center, I'll change it to closest, and we're still using face project. So let's select the big cube right here. Remember that it's parented, so we have that selected. I'll hit G and hold Control to snap it over here, and I'll hit G, move it up on the Z axis with Z, and then I'll hit G and Control again, and now it will be snapping to the bottom face right there. This is a little big, so we can hit S to scale this down. Let's go get our other house. So we can select the big cube right here. Again, G and Control. We can bring this over. G, Z to bring it up. And this needs to be quite a bit smaller also. So let's scale this until it looks pretty close to the same size right there. Again, we need to hit G and Control to snap this down. And I'll rotate this whole thing with R, Z, 90, and then press the minus sign, and that will flip it around to negative 90 degrees. So we have two houses. Let's select the water from our well right here. G and Control to snap it. Let's scale this down quite a bit. Now G and Control to snap it back down. Let's select our fence. And remember, everything is parented to this end piece right here, so we can select that. And G, Control. And we have to scale this down quite a bit, so I'll scale it down, G and Z to pull it up, and G and Control to snap it back. And we'll put it over here so people don't fall off this cliff. Let's make this a little shorter with S and Z. And we can bring some of these trees over as well. Let's select this one, G and Control, G and Z to bring it up. And let's scale this down quite a bit. I think it's okay for this one to be pretty large, but I want to scale these out a little more. So let's Shift select all of these, S, and then Shift Z, and these will get a little wider. Now select the trunk again, G and Control to snap it down. Let's select the other tree, G and Control to snap it, G and Z to bring it up, and let's scale this down quite a bit. And I think this rotation is a little strange. It's going to be cutting into our other tree, so let's hit R and Z, and we can spin this around, and G, Control to place it where we want it. We can bring our last tree over, select the trunk, G and Control, G and Z to bring it up, S to scale, and let's scale this up a little, S and Z, like that. G and Z, scale this down. We want a few smaller trees now. G, Control to snap it. Let's add a few more trees. I'll duplicate this one. So I'll select the trunk and the top part, Shift D to duplicate, and I'll just make a few of these, move them around like that. So I have 4. Now I'll just select the trunk, G and Control, and we can move these around a little just to fill some space. Scale them a little. Select the trunk, G, Control, select the trunk, G, Control, and maybe make this one a little smaller also, G and Control, so it's actually snapped. Let's bring this flower over. So select this part, G, Control. Now this is huge, so G, Z to bring it up, S to scale. You can make this a pretty big flower, you know, compared to the houses, just so we can see it from snap it. Now just to fill some more space, I'm going to create a rock. So what I'll do is hide everything. I'll hit A and H and now everything is hidden, and I'll hit Shift A, Mesh, Cone. Now with the panel down here, I'll change this down to 4, and I also want to make the top radius 0.5, and we can give this a new material, and I'll call this gray, and we'll just make this a little darker, like that, and we can move it to the side. Now let's bring everything back with Alt-H. To make this easier to control, we can move the origin point to the bottom. I'll press 1 on the number pad to look from the front, select this, go into edit mode, hit A to select everything, G and Z, and just move this up until the origin point is close to the bottom. Then you can exit edit mode, go back to object mode, and we can change the snapping options to center instead. Now it will snap to the origin point. So select this, hit G and control, we can snap this here, and we can scale it down like that. Let's hit S and Z to scale it down quite a bit. I'll look from the top with 7, and we'll create a few more of these. So Shift D, scale it down, and we can just create some interesting patterns. This can be like a rock formation, and we can move this around just to fill some space. Let's add a few up here. So with one selected, Shift D and Control, and over here, and I'll look from the top and duplicate a few over here. All right, let's set up our camera now. So let's hit 0 on the numpad to look through the camera, N to open up the side panel. Make sure you go to View and turn on Camera to View. Now we should be able to move this around. Let's just set this to an angle that we like. When you have it where you want it, you can uncheck Camera to View like that. And we want to see what this looks like in render view. So we can go over here, and right now it's very dark. And the reason for that is because of this light. We need more light. So let's just move this over right here. You can just move this with G. And to change the strength of this light, or to change what type of light it is, you need to select it, and then down over here under Object Data Properties, it should look like a little light bulb. This is a point light. We could also change this to a sun, spot, area. I like the point lamp, but let's set it up a little higher right here, and we can also turn the power up. Let's just set it to something like 5,000. And if we want, we can create another light with either Shift A, and there's a light option right here, or we can just duplicate this by selecting it and hitting Shift D, and I'll move it over right here. I'll change this to a sun light right here, and I'll set the strength to 1 for now. If you want to shut off one of your lights just to see what it looks like, you can do that over in the outliner like that. So this is what it looks like with just the sunlight. Let's rotate this by pressing 7 to look from above, and with this selected, we can just rotate it like that. This angle option, if we turn it down all the way, our shadows will be very sharp, and if we turn it up high, then our shadows will get much softer. So I'm going to turn it up pretty high just so we can get some coverage under our trees. We can also turn the strength up a little more too. I'll set it to 2, and we can turn our other light back on. The radius of your point light is also going to change how sharp the shadows are. So if you don't like how sharp this shadow is right here, you can just turn the radius up a little bit, and you can see now it's a little softer. So feel free to play with all of the settings that I just showed to try to get it how you want. So when I look through my camera with 0, I think this looks pretty good now, and we can render this out by going up to Render and selecting Render Image. If you don't like what you see here, feel free to change some of the settings. I think the rock color should be a little darker, so let's select one and just turn it down a little. I'd also like the background to be blue instead of gray, so it looks more like a sky. There are plenty of ways to do this, but I think the easiest way is to just add a plane and add some color to it. So we can hit Shift A to add in a plane. Let's drag it over here, rotate it with R, Y, 90, and then I'll look through the camera with 0 and hit S to scale until this is very large. I'll just move it a little closer to the center of the screen visually, and then scale it up until it fills everything. And make sure this isn't bumping into any of your lights, or else it might look a little strange. So let's add a new material to this. With it selected, we can hit the new button over here, and I'll name this Sky. So we can change the color the way that we have been by changing this base color option right here, but you'll notice that we have some reflections and some shadows around the edges. So if you don't want there to be any shadows, one thing that we can do is right here where it says Principled BSDF, you can click on that and we can change it to Emission right here. And now this will be a flat color that won't be affected by light at all. So we can change this to a blue color right here, and maybe just turn the saturation down. And if you think this looks a little too dark, you can also turn the strength up a little, but don't turn it up too much. So I'm not going to talk about render settings too much, but I think it's worth mentioning that Blender has 2 different render engines that you can use. So if you come up here to render properties, you can see that we have the render engine Eevee, and that's what we've been using the whole time. This will look a little more simplified. The lighting is not going to be completely physically accurate. And if you want it to be more accurate, we can click this right here and set it to cycles instead. But be warned that if you don't have a dedicated graphics card, this might not work well on your computer. But we can click that to see what it looks like, and you'll notice some more realistic shadows and reflections. Cycles also takes longer to render usually. So I'm going to change this back to Eevee, and then we can render it one last time by going to render image. And I think this looks pretty good. So let's save it now. We can go to image, save as. You can decide where you want to save it, and you can also change your file format here. I hope you learned a lot from this video. If you don't want to miss the next one about modeling, make sure to subscribe. And if you want some help, you can come to my Discord server. Come to Patreon to watch my videos early, download the project files from my videos, and get coupon codes for free products. I also donate some of the profits to environmental causes each month. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.
Okay, yeah, that was very basic beginner sort of stuff. Because I am looking for, like, the whole model. It's the crazy thing. That's going to be a lot for the whole model. Okay, so object mode, and then select the different things. Okay, just for fun, if I slap the colors on there. Let's see if I at least figured out the color stuff. Also, it's been an hour. Time for a sit break. Oh, that's just cranking. It's loud.
like you, just dance when you breaking my heart, I'm addicted to. I wanna be like you, just dance when you move. Breaking my heart, I'm addicted to.
Okay. So I stole this color off of here. So did it add that material? Hat. Hat. Is this sort of the UV editing? Texture paint? Apparently that's not the thing. Okay, go back to object mode. I'm scared. I'm not up to the editing the model. I know there's like the lasso tool where it's like, okay, add a set of vertices and then you can move the vertices around. That's what I'm interested in actually learning. Not just, here's a bunch of objects that you could pile together. Okay, wait, is the camera not? So let's see if I remember that. That seems to be the view, right? But then the rendering. You did. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, there we go. Aha. Okay. Thank you for the hint. Okay. And this was just kind of curiosity of if I... Well, clearly I didn't remember all the different settings there. All of this seems very helpful and very cool, and it also seems like a lot to memorize. It's like it's going to be quite a lot to remember. But also there was a lot of those things that he was talking about. Like, okay, now that looks very useful. I could see. Well, and it's just because I was watching somebody else do some modeling in Blender. And it was a lot of the, like, using what I was thinking, like a lasso tool and stuff, and it's like moving the points around, and it's like that's, I think I gotta watch another video. Okay, so give me a new, aha, there we go. Nose. I can't tell you, huh? Is there supposed to be text? Okay, wait, that there, then. What have I done? That's what I wanted. Hello, hello. Thank you for the follow. This is not my typical content. I have never used Blender, and I'm trying it out, and it's a lot. It is very much a lot. I spent an hour learning how to move things around, basically. So, that's where I'm at with Blender. My previous 3D modeling attempts have been... Let's see if I can... I suppose I have done some voxel art, so I have that. But let's see, yeah, this is my only other major 3D art attempt. This was cobbling things together in Paint 3D, and I was like, you know what? This got dinged for being ugly. So maybe I should learn how to actually model things. Yeah, it's like everything else was okay, and then just visually, the bottom. Because I think there was only like 15 people in this, let's see, it was like 15 submissions for this jam. So, being 11 is ugly, but... Yeah, this is my latest game, and it's, also kind of ugly. But it's more a lighting thing than a, because the voxel art is actually okay, but the... Oh, don't waste your paid artists looking for commissions. Well, it's a matter of like learning the... I want to learn the tool enough so that I can be informed as to yeah, so this is my other modeling attempt. Was this stuff? Which I think these crates actually did come out okay. But if you are looking for commissions, I'm not looking to commission anything right now. The model that I made, my Vtuber model, I just upgraded as of like April or so. So Blender Guru's donut has some actual modeling. Okay. Well, and I did. There was a YouTube video that went by that was like, here's some Blender modeling stuff, and it was how to make some fancy donuts. But it's a lot of this, like, I just want to learn. I don't want to just have to pay somebody for all this stuff. It's something I should know. It's a little more about actual 3D modeling stuff instead of just I pulled together something with voxels. So this is mostly a I want to be informed. Yeah, okay. It's because I'm trying to do this like Unity, where it's okay, I'm on the right thing there. No, okay, it's fun that this is actually still like a test of do I know how to do this? And the answer is no. Not really. Okay, so nose. I'm on the nose. And then I want to assign a material. Why hat looks so good? Oh, but if you do have stuff to show off, I do have a Discord. You can link me with stuff to show off. And 3D modeling help is definitely something that, like, yeah, no, if I had like a friendo that was an art person that was really excited about the stuff that I've made, that would be great, because art is not my strong suit, and I keep trying to learn more and more of it. Well, it's just because I love learning things that are not my strong suit. And because I don't know what my strong suit is. I just keep running away from it. That's literally what I was doing in Overwatch, is I was finding my least played character, and then playing that character. So that I could be specifically Master of None. Wait. Okay, so it's object mode. Okay, wait. Okay, this is... Okay, what is this one? Viewport shading. But then this is the one for actually seeing material. Material preview mode. But then object mode as opposed to edit mode, which is the changing the actual shape of the things. Okay, so then now... Okay, I want just the nose selected. Okay, so it's still selecting something? There we go. Okay, so just the nose selected. There we go. Okay, so I still had the hat selected. So does that mean the hat has both? Yeah, okay, so the hat is both a hair material and a nose material and whatever the heck this is. So no. Okay, okay, I had the hat selected still. That was the issue. I just want the nose selected. Wait, so was there not a list of materials? So that list of materials was just for... Okay, no, so there is a nose material floating around somewhere. Because I can't relabel this as nose, because nose already exists, because I made it somewhere. So how do I find that then? Where is the... So apparently nose already exists somewhere. So where do I see it? The drop down left of the text box for the material name. Oh. Okay. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of this that is intuitive, and then a lot of this that's not. That I think it's a lot of these, like, just gizmos here. It's these tiny little images that it's trying to memorize all of these different things. I was like, texture being the... I should know a lot more about this stuff, and somehow it got missed when I was learning. Okay, so now I could go, okay. Yeah, it's because this tiny little thing is not super easy to see. Okay, so this one can be beard then. And then I do actually have a beard color, or a hair color rather, which is basically white, but it's not exactly white. Yeah, we're just gonna take somebody else's work and say it is mine. No, we're not. I'm just seeing if I can. Wait, so how did they do the eyes then? To where it's like, I want this separate, like, pupil and iris. And, sclera, rather. No? Is that the texture painting thing then? Yeah, okay, so this is the back hair chunk, which is... I guess rather this should be just, hair. Yep, I ate too many marshmallows. This was a bad idea. Did you actually change colors? I guess you did. Doesn't look like it's F-Zero. It is F-Zero. This isn't straight up white though, right? Yeah, I was gonna say. It's slightly, very slightly off-white to the point of you can't tell. Okay, so... Still kind of want to learn how to actually model this out myself, but... I think I just feel tired and kaput because I keep making poor food decisions. This was not what I wanted. So yeah. New, get rid of you. And then do a new material being skin. And then do this color. Yeah, and all this is gonna slowly get faster and faster as I learn more and figure it out. Well, at least I'm figuring out how to do material stuff. And then this is also head. These things needed to be separated a little more. But that's okay. This is body then. And I know where that color is. I'm just gonna do this one. Or I could do skin tone. Do a naked gnome. Well, there's a lot of precedent for that too. People love their rude garden gnomes. Never been my thing, but people do love their rude garden gnomes. I mean, I gotta try it simply because the, there we go. Yeah, it's also because the eyeballs are one solid piece there too. Yeah, okay, because that video didn't go over, like, mirroring and editing stuff. Although I don't think I'm up for watching yet another long, hour-long YouTube video. Yeah, okay, that's a blender for complete beginners and modeling for complete beginners. I think this is what I was actually looking for. Yeah, I don't think I need crazy stuff like geometry nodes and instances and curves just yet. This seems like a good one too. Yeah, rigging. Because I do want the full thing. That was 3 years ago. I'm like, no, these two that are more up to date is kind of what I'm thinking. Oh, he used to be a fish. Okay, that's too much for me right now. Okay. So, now what do I want to do, though? If I'm not going to be, yeah, the sculpting is, oh, why am I feeling like this? It's only 7 o'clock where I'm at. I don't understand why I am like this. I woke up tired. I got enough sleep last night. I still woke up tired for some reason. Like, what do I want to do now? Because I'm like, I don't know that I want to. Oh, thank you for the follow. I just saw the stream avatars jump up and down. But that's the problem, is that I also run into so many bots and things that I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna respond until I see a chat message. And then it's, hey, are you looking for commissions? And the answer is no, not right now. Maybe one day. Yeah, no, this was, I want to learn how to do 3D modeling. This was not, let's go pay somebody for 3D modeling. This is, I want to know a little bit about how to use every tool so that I can have a conversation with somebody, but not necessarily be good at anything. In a world that very much wants specialization. So, I guess I could work on that, let's see. Does it not have my, script? It's because I don't want to write out a full script. I'm like, that's the whole point, is that, like, I like this kind of recording. This kind of stream of consciousness. That's design documents. Because that's naturally where I went with it. Nah, but I think the thing that would really help me is doing some YouTube stuff. Because now I got ideas too. Like, okay, I love procedural generation. I could definitely do some interesting videos around that, and I don't think I've seen a lot of that, so. Know a little bit about a lot of things, but not a ton about a specific thing. That's the most interesting thing to me, is just like, okay, I understand a bit about a thing. Well, I think some of it is you hit that valley. You go from like, oh, beginner, like, oh, this is kind of fun, this is cool, and you get right to that, like, oh, this is hard, this is, like, and then you gotta put a lot of effort in to get to the other side of, okay, I actually know what I'm doing, I can do it. But well, some of this is also like, I love game development, but it hasn't been great in terms of like gaining an audience. Well, and that's, if I could put something on Steam, if I could finish something enough to put it on Steam, I think that would actually help me gain an audience too, because there's just a lot of people on Steam that are not anywhere else. Do you have anything there, Phil XD13? I'm assuming that's how you would pronounce it. Filxt? Or I could attempt Filxt13? Ugh, that's, we're gonna stick with Phil XD. But that's also like, I'm always curious about what other people are capable of. Because then I go see what somebody else has done, and then they're like, oh look, I made your game in less time, and it's a better game. Anyway, if I'm at least inspiring, that's what I strive to be. I don't have to be good at anything except being inspiring. That's the goal. Yeah, because I'm thinking this is really what I would want to do, is just write out, here's kind of the vague bits of what I want to say, and then I can improv the rest. Because if I just read off a script that I wrote, I end up sounding pretty stiff. So, haven't gotten anything on Steam, but want to. Right now I'm making a first-person multiplayer prototype in Unreal. That's cool. Yeah, that's another one of those ones that because I went towards Unity and haven't got off of it, it's like, if I wanted to get into the industry, learning Unreal would have been a better idea, for sure. Especially because I'm not interested in military sim stuff, and that's kind of, I think, what Unity's catered towards a little more, is military sim. It's just not, it doesn't sit right with me. Well, let's see, I had some other ideas for, like, video generator things. Oh, these are the game stuff. That's the game thing that I made, and then this. Oh, that's what it was. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that was the other idea I had, was like doing kind of scale tests, essentially. It's like, what does a mountain range look like with the world's tallest mountain? What does a forest look like with a... Could just duplicate this, right? You're gonna put it way the heck down here or something, right? No, okay. Started on Scratch and moved to Game Maker. Then did Unity for a while, moved on to Unreal, and used Godot for the Pirate Software Jam. Wow, wait, you jumped to a lot of different things. That's, you know, sort of smart. In terms of... Well, I think you kind of need to touch everything to understand what you like the best, and then pick a direction. Oops. Nah, whatever. It's just making a mountain range was the idea. Yeah, because some of these I think would be pretty fun, pretty easy. Well, this one's kind of... that ship has sailed. I've kind of done with Elden Ring. I think the SEO in Elden Ring's kind of done. But... Oh, I guess I did mention a forest generator. Like trees and stuff. Yeah, I think stairs would be fun. That's a lot of these things. It's like, I think just making some kind of generator for random objects would be interesting for YouTube videos. Because you could do a little bit of like how it's made, and but also do a procedural text stuff, and then do a little bit of AI stuff there too. It's like, oh, I used this AI to see what it gives me for stuff. I gotta figure out a schedule. That was the other thing. It's like, I need to figure out a schedule for putting out content. I think I've sort of narrowed in on what I want to do in terms of content. It's like doing a whole bunch of procedural generation videos, because that should be pretty small, pretty quick to do. Should put, like, I need to find a different document for dumping links and stuff. There's just some links that, like, it's like I don't want to sign into my Steam account at work, and yet I look at a Steam link. So okay, we're gonna just do another document. It's just links. Okay, that's how Hatsune Miku, isn't it? I have not listened to Hatsune Miku. I haven't listened to Vocaloid stuff for absolutely ever. I remember doing like a talk in college about Vocaloids, and then stopped listening to Vocaloids entirely. Okay, so then all this can go. Oh yeah, this was a note I wanted for myself. Yeah, because I gotta figure out what I want to do with my Substack. I've got so many links to things. Maybe I'll just work on updating my portfolio. This is just gonna be a boring day. I'm just gonna do whatever the heck I want to. Let's see. Because I do want to put this latest, whatchamacallit, jam game on. Oh yeah, I wanted to reconfigure my portfolio to have... yeah, I was gonna say, it's not the right one, and... God balls. You didn't pop up the thing. I'm not a robot. I swear. There we go. And you do this every time because I log into this so little. Because I only make a new game every couple months, so I don't need to update my portfolio all that often. Yeah, that it says... Interesting. There we go. Now I can mess with my portfolio site. I guess I could say that's what I'm... We're just gonna put that down then. If that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm gonna focus on for now. That's the distraction. Well, I guess we'll put it under software and game development. Man, my other problem is I just don't exist at a good time for anybody. It just sucks to look at my Twitch stats and it's just like, oh yeah, nobody's on Twitch at the time that you start streaming. So you... There's two things I want to do is... Yeah, buy... So I need two entire different pages here. Did it loop? It did, okay. Actually, can you just do like this album? Cause this, yeah, this EP is fantastic. How about just the EP? Just this singular EP, just these 4 songs, repeated ad nauseum, please. Hey, there we go. Well, and we'll also see if Twitch is gonna get mad at me for this, which I can kind of. This is a more popular person, so we'll see. I don't know what their cutoff is for like, oh no, that's too popular. Okay, so this is by like by medium, I guess, or platform. Let's see, by platform or by genre, maybe. Yeah, because some of them are like 'Cause I do want to highlight stuff that's like online multiplayer and stuff. What? It's way the heck over there. Okay, no. Okay, it's not what I wanted. Do want to edit the site. Yeah, this is another one of those, like, made it into a thing that since got snapped up by Squarespace, and then I kind of need to, Okay, yeah, so it should be chronological and, I guess genre? Because I did it, so what did I don't have the categories labeled, do I? I just have these labeled by size. Yeah, I just want to have them sorted by... Okay, it's because I need the page to be under here. Okay, so chronological. That's not how you spell that. Okay, whatever. So then we're gonna put this under Vidge Games. Okay, so yeah, then it's gonna need to be... Oh, so it is... No, it is one of these. Okay, so this video games one is going to be... Okay, so get rid of this, because this is nothing. And then do... this button, right? Copy. And I think it dumps it at the bottom, just for maximum annoyance. By genre, what do you... Why do you still exist? Okay, so now... Chronological. I still spelled that. I completely butchered it again. There we go. Okay, so then this one I want to be video games by size. Because I also kind of have that already in here. Yeah, so then I could do large project, small project, game jam. So in this case, this is changing to large projects, or large project. Well, no, large projects. And then this is... Oh, and then I gotta find all these images. Oh, this is why I don't update this very often, because it's never easy. Ooh, wait, that's a good thing. Let's do, yeah, okay. This has become maximum boring. Just like me. It's not pirates, it's imbibe. Yeah, okay, so then I need to do all these. Let's make sure that I get all this. So now I want the Pirate Software Jam. Yeah, because that's the thing, is I tend to remember the game based on the name of the game, not based on the Yeah, just give me the whole builds folder. Then I make sure that I have everything. Yeah, it's a bit much, but if it's copied into a spot, then I'll find it again. It's only 7:15. Okay, so this other part of this here. I think I need any of these. Well, this was also a note that I wanted to just make sure I kept somewhere. Because that's something of like, they always say provide value. And I've just never been able to figure that out. Or rather, I've had one or two like viral TikToks and stuff, but oh, I kind of need to figure out what I want to do with the Substack, but also, I mean, I could work on that now too, but yeah, okay, so this is kind of what I want to do. Yeah, that was the thing, is figuring out the schedule, because it's like, ideally I would want to post something every day, and I did for a while. Which is crazy. I did do an entire year of posting every day. But the quality dipped a bit, which is why I didn't stick with it. Yeah, but it's like some of that pixel art stuff, it's like, that's not that hard to... Let's try to see if I remember what I did for the posting for a year. Because that was 2021 that I did that, and it's like, it's been a while, hasn't it? 2021 was when I did YouTube videos too, I think. I wasn't streaming much. Yeah, I didn't start... I've only gotten more and more into streaming. I think that's where I've... Yeah, okay, Happy New Year's 2022. So that's where I did an entire year of... Yeah, that's where I was on vacation for a while. I was just like, here's Borderlands. Man, it sucks that I can't even hit like 6 likes anymore. And yet these were getting up to like 30 on a regular basis. It just, Instagram hates me nowadays. But yeah, the quality on some of this stuff was definitely iffy. I even did that whole board game class there too. It's like, jeebers. How did I do like everything in a year? Yeah, that's Christmas. So then there's right around here. Yeah, January 2nd. Yeah, okay. It's because I had these tiny little Borderlands pixel characters. And then I had game update stuff. Yeah, and I filled it with enough of these little Borderlands pixel characters. It got me, I think it got me to like a month. And then I was like, okay, well, if I was able to do a whole month, and then I had some posts like this, where it's just like, here's something. Here's just a quick behind the scenes. Yeah, it was definitely stressful to do a post every day. Yeah, some of this stuff where it's like, yeah, it's not super quality. I need to bring back the whatchamacallit. The Where's Waldo. So that was... So I've been sitting on a mostly completed Where's Waldo for 3 years now? 4 years now? Probably. That seems crazy. Yeah, adding a colored background definitely helped on the different characters. Yeah, there we go. So I guess I did start streaming a little more regularly in 2021 as well. I did like all of the everything that year. Started streaming, I had YouTube videos going up somewhat regularly. And I was posting every day. Yeah, but that's the thing. Some of this was Throwback Thursday too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, it is pretty simple pixel art here too. It's like, it's not super complex. I still haven't played this. Yeah, okay, so there was a lot of these kind of low effort things there too, but... So there's a lot of pretty simple pixel art in there too. Well, that's what I say I'm doing, is pixel art in game development, and then have not done pixel art in quite a while. Yeah, it was these like social media like things that go by too. But the only one that I ever notice anymore is the like portfolio day, but portfolio day is for people that are not, you know, cis-het white guys. Like me as a person has been overrepresented in society for a long time, so it's like, no, that's not, portfolio day is not for me. Everything has been for me for a long time, so. Yeah, okay, so there was a fair amount of Throwback Thursday stuff. Do I have... Yeah, see, that's the thing, is I keep thinking that, like, nobody liked the stuff that I made, and it's like, no, 30 likes is something. It's just that Instagram has been dead to me for quite a while recently, and I don't know what caused it. Yeah, and a lot of these, I did super simple backgrounds. So it's just a matter of getting the character done. Yeah, a lot of this stuff ain't my best work, but... Where is he? There he is. Because it's the thing, I have this mostly completed Where's Waldo. It's like, I could also roguelikeify it. Yeah, and then Twitch clips and stuff. Hello, hello. Howdy, howdy. I'm reminiscing right now. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I was updating my portfolio and then I realized that that is tiresome. No, I think it's because I saw a loading bar, and it's always a loading bar is always distracting. Okay. But yeah, I just did the Pirate Software Jam, so I was trying to make sure that I update my portfolio with the latest thing and make sure that I have, because I there was some old projects that I mean, an artist. I'm mostly a game developer, but like, so I have tons of games that I've made over the years that I guess this is a better way to show it off. But yeah, tons and tons of game jam games that I've done that vary in quality. Some other small projects that they get better the bigger the project, but these are also not finished either. So, but I have done a lot of like pixel art, fan art stuff that I want to get back into a more regular posting schedule, because it was somehow I managed to do the occasional YouTube video, stream, and do a post a day for an entire year. But it was a bit stressful at times. But it was like it was possible, and now I'm like I post occasionally, so web developer and digital artist, that's cool. Yeah, if you have anything that you want to show, that's that is also fine. I'm always curious to see what other people are up to. It's like if I was like, I don't know what you're trying to say there. I don't know if that's a different language I'm not familiar with or what, but I tried doing YouTube for a while, but it's not for me. It take too long to make anything that I'd want to put on there. That's why I slowed down on YouTube as well, is because it just took me a while to make anything, and I never liked the recording process. I enjoyed writing a script. I enjoyed editing the video, and I just didn't enjoy the recording process. So I kind of wanted to do a test of if I treat it like a stream, and I just sort of like have an outline of like, okay, here is the kind of vague things that I want to say. Can I speed up the process? But I also feel like I tested that with a video, and I just didn't end up saying all that much. So it's like, okay, I think I would need to... So I think I need to mess with the recording process. But it's like I did... Oh, it's up to almost 8,000 views. But I did have a video that did well enough. But yeah, a lot of the videos I did just kind of got a handful of views and then stopped. So it was just surprising when this one, it was on the same trajectory of like just a handful of views, and then people forgot to stop watching it. So I think it's just people were interested in like, you know, how do you make a Jackbox game? Although I still haven't seen a ton of Jackbox game stuff, so. A graphic design company. That's neat. Unfortunately, I'm not looking for commissions, if that's also I just updated my model to the thing I have now back in like April, and I want to stick with it for a while. And I was working on trying to learn 3D modeling, so somebody sent me this, but because the one I had was not great, but and that's also just I want to actually learn how to 3D model and stuff. But hey, that's some Borderlands emotes. I mean, that has me interested. But yeah, I feel like a lot of these tend to look pretty similar, and it's like, because like my style tends to be fairly like cute and cartoony. But there's a lot of these that look like more realistic that I'm like, it just never It's not the style that I'm looking for, but what was I going on about? I was trying to figure out. No, okay, this. I was updating my portfolio, and by that I mean I was making sure that this has the photos, which by that I mean, yeah, this stuff. So this stuff. Oh, and then the thumbnail, which is terrible, but is you know, something, I guess. That was the real issue, is that the thumbnail was terrible. That's definitely a lesson learned, is come up with the thumbnail a lot earlier. Okay, so that's the thumbnail photos, screenshots. Yeah, that ugly lighting did not do me any favors either. But that's... Well, I would say you live and you learn, but I keep making bad, ugly games, so... I'm at least surviving. I'm still making stuff, so that's, I guess, good. I don't think the stuff I make is too ice-searingly bad, so... I guess it's good I'm still making stuff. Who knows? Yeah, okay, these are some of the more important screenshot photos, because these I actually had up on the game page. Even if they are quite rough. I ended up with another ugly looking game. Okay, so that is screenshots, thumbnails, and a video. Oh, this will take quite a while to move over. Do I need all of these videos? No. Am I gonna grab all of these videos? Yes. Because I believe I have the space, and I would like to not lose things if I can. Which is why I'm doing this in the first place. Trying to be a little more organized. Yeah, some of the reason I want to get back into YouTube as well is simply because I watch a lot of YouTube. So it'd be gameplay. I think I did do one of those videos as a trailer too, but yeah, that's the thing about making content, is I think you can continue to put stuff out there for quite a while, but I gotta remember to edit my get Twitch clips. I've not done that in quite a while. It's because I do these game development streams, and I'm like, there's not anything interesting in there, and it's like, no, that's, if this is what I'm streaming most of the time, I should pull some interesting clips from it, and yet I don't. It's gotta be this video then. Trailer, but whatever. And again, I'm yawning like I'm exhausted, and it's 7:30. I mean, I woke up tired for some reason though. Even though I felt like I got enough sleep. The source code, which is this whole thing anyway. Okay, now that should take quite a while, right? Because Unity has bloated and bloated into just nonsense at this point. Yes, that's gonna take quite a while, apparently. Gee frickin' whiz. Okay, so if I go back to doing... means I gotta finish some pixel art. Which I guess I have this. It's not really anything, but... it's an attempt at something. Could bring back my, future on. I should do some Vikings. Vikings Valhalla fan art. Because I've been really enjoying that show. It's a really good TV series. Unity is quick to launch compared to Unreal. Wow. Because I'm like, it feels like it's a good 15-20 minutes. Maybe not that much. Also, I'm like, I clicked Vikings Valhalla and it came up with Ragnar. Like, huh? And Harold Finehair. He's a character that I never really cared about at all. And yet he survived for quite a while. Oh, this was just a... wait, I had a list of... I haven't messed with that. I haven't looked at that in a long time. Yeah, okay. I thought I had it here somewhere. Can you look up the character list? Ah. No, the fact that Unreal launches slower than Unity is kind of crazy, because I feel like Unity is pretty slow. I do need to mess with a few more engines. Yeah, it's like this. I'm like, yeah, I should. It's been 10 flippin' years. I've been making games for, what, 12 years? 10, 12 years? And I'm just now actually trying to learn 3D modeling and stuff. Yeah, so 2013. Yeah, because I think some of these I made before that, but I just kind of lumped it under. Like this was pre-college, this was college, and then this is post-college. Yeah, that was... that definitely disappointed me when May rolled around, and it was like, yep, it's 10-year college anniversary. Been out of school for 10 years and still no closer to becoming a game developer. But that's okay. Still around, I'm still here, I can still... Yes. I'm the king of all Greenland. Vikings is a fantastic show. Oh, so that's why I had the thing there. Oh, I guess I had plenty of characters. That. Oh yeah, I forgot about doing the Cuphead show. And oh yeah, Amphibia. Oh yeah, Blue Eye Samurai. Man, that ending of Amphibia, quite touching. That's a good show. So Vikings Valhalla. Is there any other show that I watched recently that I would like to do fan art of? It definitely works better with cartoon characters because it's easier to pick up the colors and just tends to come out better, but I do have a Ragnar Lothbrok somewhere. Yeah, I fell off of Bob's Burgers. I feel like they took a pause for a season and then I lost track of what season they were on, so I'm like, I have no clue where I'm at with that show. But I like that show a lot. I don't know if I would want to go back and rewatch the whole thing, but... Okay, so I have a good amount of filler content with these Where's Waldo Wednesdays, which I could bring back, especially if I do like a whatchamacallit. Yeah, that's the thing. I did a fair amount of this filler content stuff. Okay, so while this is still doing that, what would I want to do for a schedule? Yeah, I don't know what project I want to do now either. I'm like in between projects as well, where it's like a friend wants to work on a boat racing game. And I'm like, well, because we're using my voxel art right now, but because it's like shiny water, it doesn't, there's just a slight incongruity there that I'm not entirely comfortable with. And it's also a project that's started and stopped a bunch, and that is huge for killing my motivation. It's like I like to just crank away on a thing for a while, and once I step away from it, it's hard to step back into it. Yeah, so it's like if I did that weekly and I made some kind of new it's post schedule, then I should also do stream schedule. Because I think I kind of want to get rid of my Friday streaming, because nobody is around on a Friday night. It's just so rare that anybody's around on a Friday night. I should stream on the weekends, but my weekends tend to get moved around and changed by just nonsense and happenstance that I find it hard to stream on the weekend. So when a lot of meetups and stuff happen too, so it's like I don't feel, well, it's like a Saturday morning I could probably get away with. It'd be right over the third shift that I usually watch, but I guess I could do it on a Sunday morning then. Yeah, because I think I'd want to do more like that. Do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Even though Saturday and Sunday is a great time to stream. Or rather, let's see. Nah, it's gonna take forever to load because this thing is lagging out. But was I zipping this or was I copy pasting it? I can't remember. Hopefully I was zipping it because that'll be easier to copy paste over. Okay, well, and at any rate, I would want to do... Well, these I would definitely want to keep, and then yeah, that's the rest of that. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if I were gonna do a YouTube video, I would also need to find the time in between streaming and stuff to also work on a YouTube video. I mean, I could do more like a... I guess it's more work schedule. Alright, project schedule, there we go. Because I say work, and I think of my job, and I'm like, no, I want projects. That's my stuff, not work stuff. Well, because then if I get rid of that Friday, so then this would be video editing. That's the thing, is like, could I make and edit the video in a day? Is the thing. Which I did not too long ago, so. Hello, thanks for the gnome. I'm in maximum boring mode right now, but kind of just waiting for my folders to copy over. At least I figured out this. So like, this is the important part that I'm like, okay, that's kind of the... Yeah, it's like, if I could figure out a way to crank out YouTube videos at a faster pace, that'd be nice. Oh wait, let's look at my link tree. I'm like, am I posting something on all of these different places? And the answer is no, not at all. That's kind of what I want to figure out, as to what I'm posting where. and a schedule for all of it. So, oh, that can go away for now. Oh, no, that's the... This one could go away. Unless I had another show that I was thinking about doing fan art for. Well, I still had some Borderlands characters I never finished too, right? Yeah. There's still some more Borderlands characters I could do. If I really wanted to get back into it, I could do some Borderlands characters. Although I'm not super hyped on that franchise right now. After New Tales from the Borderlands, which was god-awful, and then the movie, which is just a bunch of nothing. Not hyped upon Borderlands right now. And I think it's still going to be a little while until Borderlands 4. And even Borderlands 3, the main story was kind of rough. Man, yeah, there's some good stuff in here that I wished I had done fan art of earlier. Something like the Cuphead show is pretty easy for me to like just update it, because I think I have like the Cuphead show sitting around. Okay, that was me just compressing it. Jeepers. Okay, there we go. So what do I have for the Cuphead show? Because I had one, then I updated it, and then if I updated it again, I would want to add the... Oh, it's just gotta think real hard. That's copying over fast, though. Yeah, that's why I wanted to zip it, is because I'm like, that should copy over fast. Okay, there we go. So now... That's all of the executables, despite the fact that I didn't need literally every executable, but that's okay. That's at least a few photos. Oh, it's yeah, thumbnail photos, screenshot photos, the source code that I just copied over, and then video stuff, of which, yeah, okay, I did just grab all the videos. Okay, so now this... That's all mostly updated. I think there are still some games missing off of that list, but that's okay. So Fnart, and then the Cuphead show, because I have Cuphead. Oh, I did do Cuphead. Okay, yeah, I did do Cuphead DLC. I should experiment with doing a few more pixels too. Make it just a little bigger. And then I think I did the Cuphead show too, right? Yeah. Oh, so that should be trivial to just slap Chalice onto here. That has been the nice thing about doing a whole bunch of fan art, is that there's just so much to work off of. And it's like, oh, I need a horse? Oh, I have a horse character somewhere. Oh, I need some... I've just done a lot of weird things. But yeah, like, it should be pretty easy to just add Chalice into this scene. Although I think the colors are... Yeah, I was gonna say, because the game, they've got white hands. The show, they've got the yellow. Yeah, I went back and watched, like, the Season 3 on Cuphead show, and I wasn't super impressed. Okay. I don't remember what I was doing. Okay, we're gonna just... Okay, hide this. Hide in navigation. So then, games. Yeah, okay, video games chronological. That's fine, because that's what it is. So, large projects. No, here, video games chronological. And then that's hidden. So, because I think just adding imbibe is the best idea right now, just to do that. Oh, there isn't a 2024 either. Which... This isn't my first game for 2024, is it? Actually, it might be the first one I put out this year. Let's see. Is that this year? Last year? No, that's last year, right? That's this year. Yeah, this is the very beginning of this year. Yeah, there we go. Happy New Year 2024. Which I did not... Yeah, I didn't put out that game. And then I did not put out that game. And then I did put out this game. So this is the first game of the year. And it's been over half a year. It's like, I feel like it's typically a couple of months that I have some sort of jam game out, but... Okay, so then this will be properly updated then. So yes, copy. Here. 2024. 2024. And then this needs to be redone, but I need to make the game page first. I don't think I've done Pirate Software Jam, but the... Yeah, this. I guess that one works too. Because that's GMTK Game Jam. Which I don't... There it is, jeez. I don't think I'll do the GMTK Game Jam this year, but we'll see. Because I just did the Pirate Software one. I'm like, I don't necessarily need to do another one. I had something coming up this weekend, right? It wasn't just this. Oh, I'm thinking Alien Romulus. That's like, it's not necessarily something coming up, but I guess I am still joined to this jam. So. Yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm like, I'm kind of waiting for the theme. I'm like, if I feel inspired by the theme, I'll do it. If I'm not feeling inspired by the theme. Oh, so this is animating. It kept stopping and it's throwing me off. Okay, so now I want to copy this. Yeah, because it's only just now coming up at 8 o'clock. But I should think, if I'm yawning like I'm tired, I should think about going to bed at like 8:30, like an old man. Yeah, because I think if I can recategorize my portfolio to highlight, like, hey, I've done VR games, hey, I've done multiplayer games, because right now it's just a dump of, here's everything I've done over the years, so... Wait, it's Monday, right? When does the thing end? Okay, wait, this should be able to take me to this, which should be able to take me to this. Yeah, voting ends in 1 day and 13 hours. That's submissions open, and then... So that, yeah, okay, that's 9 o'clock on Wednesday again. I don't expect a ton out of my submission, but, I was like, I know I did get rated, which I was surprised about. I was like, oh, hey, look, I did actually finally get a rating. Yeah, it definitely did help to play other people's games. For them to say, hey, I'll give you feedback too, so. I keep wanting to check it too, just to see popularity-wise. I'm like, where's my game? I think it's dropping, isn't it? It wasn't super far down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't feel like figuring out the math on how far down it is. I guess I'll get a ranking on Wednesday anyway, which will say, it's okay. That's every game I've ever done. I'd love like a wow, but further up than yours. I got a rating. Well, I think their goal is to rate everybody, but that's a lot of games, and I don't know how big their judging panel is, so. At least I thought they were saying that they were trying to rate everybody. So if I just kind of do a random one down here. Rated by 2 people, okay. So it looks like they might be doing ratings for everybody. Oh wait, what I should do is this. And then it puts me down at the bottom instead of... It's like you redid the randomize there. Yeah, okay, so it looks like they are getting a rating for everybody. I'm assuming the ones at the top are highly... Oh, no, I thought that was fairly high up, but... So it seems like they are doing a rating for everybody, which is good to see. Because when I saw it sorted by popularity, that always, like, makes me say, oh yeah, it's sorted by, you know, a person's popularity, not necessarily the game's popularity. That's pretty impressive to go through this many submissions in 2 weeks. So I wonder how many people they actually had rating the games. Yeah, I should've... I don't know if I should, but I definitely could have milked the jam for more views. Because that definitely helped my my Twitch stats. I was definitely crawling up a little closer to having affiliate. I was getting a little closer to affiliate, but it was also kind of exhausting to play a bunch of jam games. As cool as they were, it's just a lot to play a game and provide feedback, and then just keep that up for a few hours, and then keep that up for a few days. So I guess I could have streamed a little less too, but I like the, you know, stream for a few hours at least. There we go. This is what I was in the middle of. Okay. Worked solo to create a game in 2 weeks. I don't want to figure out the hours on it. I do need to do some typing tests or something. Like, I didn't realize how abysmal my typing skills are. Yeah, I gotta upload these games to other sites too. That's the other thing. I didn't do a video for this one. Okay, I still kind of want to do. So that's the. There we go, build. And then give me a YouTube video. Nope, I don't need it playing right now. That was the other reason I wanted to get back into doing YouTube videos, is because it's just really nice to have a, like, it's all going. It also goes back to that journaling and just tracking things. It's just nice to have, like, here is my thought process. It's like, here's how I made this game. Like, that's pretty much why I make all the things I make, is because I want to just catalog it. Not for any other reason. I don't really care if anybody sees it, and I doubt that they will. I just want to catalog it for myself. At least tell me it's the animated version. Thank you, because I'm like, that's what makes the thumbnail interesting, is when it's animated. Yeah, the game is just so simple and ugly. Just a real shame, real bummer. Well, I was even like mentioning on a stream today. It's just like, oh yeah, I made a warehouse full of crates, and it was like, that sounds like a tech demo. It's like, yep, you picked up on that a lot sooner than I did. I just thought it'd be, I thought it would look nice, but did not turn out that way. Or, you know, I thought it would work well enough for a little, like, 2-week thing, but the answer was no, not at all. Too boring. Even if it's fun to mess with the crates and the crate physics and stuff. Yeah, there's just no good screenshots, because there's no difference in color, rather. Is that golden? Golden crates? Yeah, the lighting was just so goofed. Yeah, okay. It's like, give me another screenshot, just cause why not? Yeah, I'm glad I don't do web development anymore. I was never good at it, and I never liked it. And now I'm doing Unity development that I'm better at, even if it's still not the game development I would like to be doing. But you gotta be good at what you're doing, and I've never been good at anything. Okay, at least I feel like I'm good at streaming. That's the one thing that, like, somebody says something in the comments, I can respond to it in a unique and witty way, I feel like. And I feel like I can chat long enough to make it at least somewhat interesting. But the problem is, I just don't stream at a good time with any interesting content. Website URL. Okay, so that is the page, right? So that's the page here. So now I can go back here and say, to imbibe again. It definitely helped that I got rid of the many versions of Unity that I had. I had so many versions of Unity. There we go. I still have a few versions of Unity, but it's not as many as I had. And so now standard page being this one. Okay. So I guess we'll hit go on that. See how that looks. Really disliked PHP until I used it for a year and then got used to it. Tried something else, got to dislike PHP again. I don't know that I messed with PHP much. It was because I was doing C#.net stuff. That just it never made sense to me. It's never all that intuitive or interesting. Well, it doesn't help that I end up at jobs that I don't like. I just don't find the work useful or interesting. It's like there's a lot of jobs where it's because like the last job I was doing prototype stuff, where it's just like, okay, once these prototypes are done, or it's like they were just, I was working on stuff long enough for them to say, oh well, let's start on the next project. So I'm like, oh, that was 3 years of not actually ever submitting anything for it to be used to buy anyone. So it's kind of like, nah, I think I'm good at this point. I'm just kind of goofing around with stuff, like and I think that's been about, like, at least half of my jobs have been like, I don't think anybody ever used the thing I actually made. But that's the thing too, is that I think, like, even for my dad, he only about half of the code that he's ever made has ever been used, which is just kind of crazy to me. There's a lack of satisfying work in software for sure. Also, hello. It's like I may or may not be doing anything more interesting. I don't know. I at least got this updated on my portfolio, which is good. That's a lot of years. That's a lot of stuff. And still, nothing on Steam. Nothing on a major platform. I do have a game on an Amazon device, but nothing on a major platform. Which is why I also wanted to recategorize this stuff, so that you can actually see, like, released games and stuff. Okay, but I don't think I want to mess with that right now, but 0% of my code is used. Yeah, see, that's why software is like difficult for me, because it's why I focus so much on my own creative work. It's because I know I could put this on my portfolio and show somebody, here's stuff that I made, here's stuff that I did. But it's like if I look at my resume and say, oh, like this was just bug fixing on a product that I don't think is used anymore. This was a startup that didn't go anywhere. This was also a startup that didn't go anywhere. I think there might be some of my code out here on one of these client websites, but had code by my buddy rewrote this in type. Wait, I had my code by my buddy rewrote in this TypeScript. So, okay. Let's see. So, I kind of doubt the thing that I made for this is used anywhere. So that one's a maybe. Okay, wait, so this was a... That's a maybe. That's a no. That's a no. That's a maybe. That's a maybe. That's a maybe. That's a no. And that's a not yet. So... Okay, wait, I had my code. Oh, but my buddy wrote this in TypeScript. Okay. Made my first game before even knew what coding was. Well, and some of this is not like these are all Game Maker games. So this is all Game Maker stuff. It wasn't until 2014 that I picked up Unity. Even this one's CryEngine, actually. Or no. This one's just this one's XNA, this one's CryEngine, and then everything since has been Unity. But yeah, these are just Game Maker games. And like not too bad of ideas. Like I think they actually are like interesting game ideas. Well, this one I never figured out because I wanted it to be a match 3 except the gravity switches, but I never fully figured that out. Yeah, this was just a somewhat interesting zombie game. A pretty basic zombie game, though. Yeah, and somehow I lost a couple of games from college. Like, there's a couple. Like, I did a breakout, except that it was you're rescuing monkeys from cages, but that game got lost when I broke a laptop. It got I think it got overheated and then just melted to where you couldn't recover things. But for some reason, somehow my very first game here, which was literally like, let's just mess around with how Game Maker works, somehow survived. Yeah, and this was that very extremely simple, just using C# and XNA. Had a game I worked for 100 hours. It got deleted by a repair shop because the laptop burned. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I definitely, after I think I broke a second laptop, I spilled some water on it. It was like, we're gonna make sure I got backups in places. So, yeah, then this is just messing around with CryEngine. I thought it was interesting to just kind of put everything underwater. So yeah, the stuff from 2013 is all kind of Game Maker. Oh, so I guess it's been 10 years of Unity then, because it was 2014 that I started using Unity. So 10 years of using Unity, and then 4 years of using it professionally, because that's the only thing that's whether you get paid for it or not, which I think is kind of dumb. But I think it's also finishing stuff, like actually releasing something is an important part of the process that I still have not fully figured out. Although I do have a fair amount of stuff up on itch.io, even if it's not on Steam. I still have that as a stray thought of like, you know, how hard would it be to just polish up something like remake and polish something like this, just goofy, like, you know, you move a bunch of balls around and then just throw that on Steam just to say I have something on Steam. Because I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this as just like a, you know, a background, like, visual desktop toy, and then you have it, like, Twitch chat enabled, so chat can actually mess with the background. But... I have balls. That is true, because it's like the name of the thing is not great either, but I really like the stuff that I was able to get out of this. Out of just basic, like, move the little objects around. Wow! That's old. That did not record very, That is some low quality stuff there. Jeepers. Oh, I guess there is just a lot of moving objects that tends to, destroy the thing as well. But I have had it in the back of my mind of, like, I could redo this project as a Twitch chat enabled thing, as, you know, a fun, like, background visualization or something. So fun too, more fun. Electric Boogaloo, even more fun. Yeah, okay, it's probably this is just a lot of objects moving around on screen. It is also destroying the frame rate. Yeah, because that's my biggest hurdle, is just actually getting something on the Steam. Just never happens, but... The funnest. Fun 3. The funnest. Maximum fun. Okay, I got thoroughly distracted again. Complaining about, I would love to be doing this for a living, but I can't convince anybody to take a chance on me. Oh, that's what it was. I was looking at this one. The funner. Also, if you, I do stream, well, okay, right now I'm not doing anything super, I was gonna say my usual stream schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I do pixel art and game development on Monday, Wednesday, and then indie games on Fridays. But I did 2 weeks of Elden Ring, and then I did 2 weeks of Pirate Software Jam, and then I did a week of playing Pirate Software Jam games, and now I'm trying to learn Blender. So it's been over a month of not sticking to the schedule that I had, but whatever. And I haven't even gotten that far into learning Blender. Somebody sent me this model and I just colored it. Yeah, the one I have is, yeah, because that's the other thing is, I watched one long, like, here's how you actually do modeling in... Yeah, I watched this. I watched this getting started, and then it was like, oh, it's another 2 hours of watching Blender tutorial stuff to figure out how to actually model something, so I'm like, I don't want to watch that on stream right now. Let's goof around with my portfolio instead. Yeah, I was gonna say, I do want to switch off of doing Friday streams, because nobody shows up on a Friday night. Because nobody shows up at the time that I stream, and then secondarily, nobody shows up on Fridays. Because it's like, it's the weekend, I'm gonna go do something fun, I'm not gonna watch a Twitch stream. And it just sucks that that's exactly when I'm like, the week is over, I could just play a video game as late as I want, let's do a stream. Yeah, okay, because I was also reminiscing about my Instagram where I was posting on a regular basis, and then it just stopped happening. Well, and it just doesn't help that it's just everything is down to 4 or 5 likes now. I guess some of those. It's like, I don't know why. It's like it got somewhat neutered. But might be the game development stuff. It might be that people really do not care about the games because they just... I do make ugly games. They are not aesthetically pleasing. I try to make them simple so that they're not all that ugly, and it's still not pretty stuff, so... Yeah, see, it's this stuff where I'm like, I want to get back into doing very simple, small pixel art so that I can actually post on a regular basis more. Not that anybody really cared all that much about those. Why was I reposting this? I don't remember why I was posting this. Oh, I think they posted the movie trailer or something. Yeah, because there have been the occasional things where I just sort of like, I get inspired and I whip up some art pretty quick. Yeah, okay, I was back to doing Throwback Thursdays, and I'm like, nah. I'd have to figure out a better cycle for Throwback Thursdays. Yeah, I gotta figure out more fun pixel art like this stuff too. It breaks away from just my simple characters. It's kind of the brand that I made, is these little characters, and I think I've hampered myself a bit. Because it was like once I upgraded my gnome to be, you know, not this, but like actually upgraded, it has helped in terms of viewer retention and stuff. It's like, I love pixel art, but it's niche. And I think if I want to expand my viewership just a smidge. That's the thing, it's like I don't necessarily want like a ton of viewers. I just want enough to hit affiliate. But I think that's still like hundreds of followers away. Okay, so I updated my portfolio. Oh, it's 8:30. I could just go to bed, but I am a little more awake. I can't tell if I was just feeling a yawn there or not. Oh, that's it. I was gonna go through this and say, okay, I have all of these accounts that I put down. All of these accounts. That's Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's the same thing there. TikTok, Patreon. Yeah, all of those are kind of lumped into the same thing. Reddit, Substack, YouTube. So is that all of them? SoundCloud. LinkedIn. I don't post on LinkedIn though. And I don't have any intention on posting on LinkedIn. And then Patreon. Did I put down Patreon? So 8 p.m. is 2 a.m. for you? You're in good company. That is literally all the people that stop by my Twitch stream. There's been, I think, one person who said, hey, it's actually 8:30 where I'm at. But I think literally every one of the other regulars that has started showing up recently has been late night European. Yep, like I said, I've cultivated an audience of people who are up at 2 in the morning. I didn't think I had that, like, Adult Swim vibe, but apparently. Like, if anybody is in the stream, it's a European and it's the middle of the night. Or at least I assert European. It's across the pond from me. I'm east coast of the US, so... Good to know I give off those late night vibes. I didn't, like, especially because I'm a morning person. So, didn't realize I give off those Adult Swim middle of the night vibes. Okay, yeah, time that your brain tends to be most active and productive. Makes sense. I think most people I know are late night, middle of the night people. Like all of my friends, like if I look at Discord, it's 3 a.m. my time is when they're all like signing off and saying, "Hey, good night." We're having some sort of weird conversation, but I'm an old man and I go to bed early and I get up early. Oh well, and it's genetic. My parents are both morning people too, so. But it does not help me. It means I exist at a time that nobody else does. Oh, so let's see. So if I did video editing on a Friday. Guess I wouldn't have to do pixel art. No. That's if I were able to crank out a video a week. I'd have to figure out a schedule for that. Well, because it's also like 4 hours? No, it's not 6 to 10. Well, it's if I could start earlier, which I try to start, just because I know people are up at 2 in the morning. I try to start a little earlier, but I guess if I did, it's still what, like 10 or 11 at night? Because it's been about, 3 hours, and I started at 5:30. So if it's 2 in the morning, yeah, it's I still start at the middle of the night, because I go to bed around 9 p.m. Meaning my stream doesn't start until people are after I would have gone to bed. Oh, so did I write down all of the different... Okay, SoundCloud and LinkedIn. I don't think I would... Okay, we're gonna put them down just to say... I do not want to go out of my way to... include... I cannot type. Okay, SoundCloud would be just question marks. And then... LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done a post on LinkedIn. I don't know how you would even do that. I know it does have some kind of social media features, but I've never messed with it. Never been interested in messing with it. You know a nice shortcut? Is it the one from Pirate Software? It's like Shift Control Windows L or something. It takes you to LinkedIn. Alt, okay. Shift Control Win Alt L. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's literally just mash the corner of your keyboard and press L. Ta-da! It's LinkedIn. That's crazy that it's a thing. There's my face. There's LinkedIn offers. Gee, thanks. Oh, it's funny that it's literally mash the entire corner of your keyboard. It's like, do people really need to go to LinkedIn that bad? Oh, GitHub. Oh, I guess I just finished a project. Yeah, okay, I just dumped source code on here. Oh, wait, I just finished important shortcut hard-coded. Until LinkedIn no longer becomes important, but I guess we'll see. I don't know, I feel like it hasn't... LinkedIn's weird, because it doesn't feel like it's a super useful social media. It doesn't feel like it's a super useful... I mean, it's sort of weird. I do a fair amount of, like, applying to jobs on LinkedIn, just because it has, like, easy apply and stuff. And I guess there is a lot of jobs that ask for your LinkedIn, so... the code. Is it game marketing, right? Yeah, there we go. Storage D, game marketing. And then source code for Imbibe. Let's rename it. There we go. So now let's fill up my Google Drive with even more nonsense. Yeah, because I know they ask for a GitHub. But I was like, I don't actually have one. I haven't uploaded anything to GitHub. But I figure having at least some kind of like source code that's available for projects is helpful. Yeah, I need to update these. These are both kind of, I don't know if they're desperately out of date, but they're definitely out of date. Yeah, 22. I've got like 35 now. 36? I just finished one? It's a lot of games. And a couple of them are better. I don't know if they're good, but they're better and they're not awful. Well, why is it unlisted? What job am I looking for? Just something that is not military simulation stuff. Because I'm doing Unity development now, but it's military sim stuff, and I don't want to work for the military. Just not my bag. And so, like, ideally, I'm looking for game development stuff, but this is literally the worst time to be looking for a game development job, especially if I'm still, and it's in one of those weird spots where I'm not junior, because I've done 10 years of Unity, and I've done 4 years of professional Unity, so I don't feel entirely junior, but I don't feel like I qualify for a senior position either, because it's like 4 years of, you know, faffing about with, like, not game development is, you know, doesn't count. I've got too much experience for entry level and not enough for senior, and the only things that I've found are like senior positions. I think what I need to do is put something on Steam too. I think if I can prove that I can finish something enough and polish something enough so that when I put something out there and say, okay, hey, this is a game that is available on a storefront, that it's like, hey, you could go download this from the Amazon App Store. It's like it's a game that is actually available. And then I got 2 reviews that are just bad, awful. Oh, okay. So that's what I need to do. I need to put a game on Steam for somebody to just completely dump on it. So easier to make an indie dev, as in it's easier to do indie dev. I mean, that's why I focused on it. It's just because, like, I think it's hard to get into a company, and then I know a lot of companies are like, you're just gonna crank out mobile games, you know. And like, I don't necessarily want to be doing that kind of stuff either. I know there's also like casino jobs. Like, I did an interview for a casino place as well, which is also like, I want entertainment or education, ideally. Because, like, I've done, yeah, I worked for an oil company, I've worked for the military, I've worked for a lending company. So it's like, it's just a lot of stuff that I don't really believe in. So love adding more ads to mobile apps than dream job. I mean, that's there is some money for marketing stuff. I do follow a Substack that is about user acquisition stuff, marketing stuff. Or at least I did follow a Substack. It also had a lot of just kind of nonsense on it that I was like, no, I'm not. It had a lot of like article stuff that I just didn't understand why it was there. It was like Dr. Doom is mad about something. It was like a repeated article thing, and I was like, oh, what? What does that mean? Why is that there? So. But yeah, that was my goal last year, was to put something on Steam, and that's my goal this year, to put something on Steam, and it still hasn't happened. This year's been pretty inconsistent. Yeah, and I know my friend did hit me up about like, hey, let's finish something and put it on Steam, and then he had family things happen, and so he couldn't work on it. It was just like, that really killed the momentum, so. Need fun on mobile. I mean, like I said, this that is in the back of my head of like, go back and redo all of these games as commercial products. Yeah, I don't know if mobile was what I had in mind necessarily. I was thinking more like, you know, background desktop kind of thing. Wait, did I have? Yeah, okay, I was gonna say. But can I look at the analytics on Game Jolt? I have not looked at. Oh wow, I got a whole 2 views that day. Crazy. Bird Game, my VR game. Huh. If I do all time, there was a little while where I had some amount of. Yeah, 12,000. That's not too bad, but. Mobile with ad every 10 seconds for peak mobile experience. That because I have played a fair amount of mobile games. I was kind of bouncing around just trying stuff, and I did come across one that was literally, if you took your finger off the app for 5 seconds, it would play an ad. Like if you just let it sit there, it would play an ad. It was crazy. I was just like, that's like no input. Oh, here's an ad. That's also a project I had in mind, was like the most evil game. Trying to do the most monetized, most... Like, I feel like I wrote up a fair amount for that. Do I have that somewhere? Was it a video idea? Or was it... Yeah, it was right around then when they were doing the Diablo Immortal. It was like Diablo Immortal, and it's just crazy monetization stuff. I was like, you know, how hard would it be to do the most evil game, the most monetized game possible? I thought that was an interesting video idea. I don't know, I guess I didn't write it down. Thought I had it somewhere. Is it here? Nah. Wait, if I just do the most evil game, is that what I called it? Yeah, making the most evil game. That's like just as an experience, as an experiment. Yeah, that's what it was. Writing down literally all of the different types of monetization stuff, and then, you know, to like have fake currency to see how much people spend on the most evil game. But you click exit, you get a new one. It'd be hard to beat Star Citizen though. Can I test if the website's up? Sure. Yeah, you can throw a link in there. Yeah, I'm not too picky about links as long as they're as long as you ask to post a link. Because if I see a link and it's just somebody new and random posts a link, then what is this website? Because this just I was like, I don't know what this is. This looks a little iffy, but could do like what is the website? Just like before I go there, before I dump it on stream. I mean, what is it, just an IP? Just text? Just text of what? Just seeing an IEP address is just a little iffy to me. But yeah, then it pops up with not secure. So something's up. It says hello. Well, we'll try it. I'm trusted you here, we'll see. It's... I don't know if this is what you meant, but that's what is popping up, so... No SSL setup. So... it's like, yeah, it doesn't look like it's functioning there, but... Oh, I even wrote a whole script! I forgot I wrote a whole script for this and everything, too. Man, there's just... I've made so much nonsense and finished so little of it. So... Again? Like, what was... Oh, it was on the... incognito. It should not be like that? That's what I was assuming. I was assuming it was not set up correctly there. The login seemed like it was the, it wasn't logged in or set up right. Nah, same thing. I don't know if it's, I don't know if I need to refresh it or not, but that's what it's coming up with. I'm assuming a Chinese company or something, but that's, I don't know. At least on my end, across the pond here, it's not functioning. So. I mean, I forgot I wrote out the entire script for this, too. I think it's because I also wanted to make the full, maybe not the full game, but at least something that you could, like, poke around with and play with, so. That's your router. It should not be online. Well, it was looking like trying to log into your router or something, so that might not be online. That might be just... Oh yeah, the red bubble. That was the other thing that I forgot I did all of this work, too. Got so much stuff, and none of it is finished. Now, this one just made me mad, because yeah, it says no results found, and then I go look at the flippin' dashboard, and I've got, like, all this stuff. I'm like, look at all this. I don't know if anybody would care about purchasing this or not, but I'd love to see. Yeah, they just never went live with this. Okay, how hard is it to get a hold of their help anyway? Help. I'll mess with this some other day. I guess I should put that on here too. This red bubble. Yeah, cause that. Wait, did I do that? Because I also wanted to do that whole. Okay, it doesn't matter. This. I'll also figure that out later. Okay, but that's all of the accounts. That's so many things. Yeah, Kickstarter I don't need to post anything on. That's just, hey, I've kickstarted way too many games. I like other games. Okay, wait, you can... Well, there is no page breaks on this there, is there? I'm like, Is this technically... It's essentially page break. Yeah, this is the stuff I need to figure out, is what stuff I want to do when. And I gotta finish stuff. Okay, yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Guild, TikTok, Patreon. Yeah, Substack. And then... Again, I'm still gonna throw in an incognito window in a corner just to make sure. It seems to be thinking harder, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It thought a lot harder, but it seems to still be coming up with the same thing. Or rather, it's still thinking about it, it looks like. Nope, it was still thinking about it. Thought really hard, and then didn't work. Let's see, do I want to come back tomorrow with something? I don't know. Oh, like I said, I wanted to work on the YouTube video for the... You haven't configured it like that? Well, and I don't know if it... Because I'm also... like I said, I'm east coast of the US. Location-wise. If that also helps in terms of whether it should be connecting or not. Hey, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it's like... I'm still... I've been a very transitionary point with my content and stuff, but it will be regular, at least a few days during the week. Yeah, because it's almost 9 o'clock where I'm at, and I'm like, I think I'm ready to head to bed. So what did I do? I watched a Blender tutorial, and I got kind of nowhere with this. And then I updated my portfolio a little bit, but had no geo-blocking and stuff. Well, it's like if you haven't configured anything, I would assume there would have been no issues, but since there was issues, I was kind of like, yeah, that's... Yeah, that's like the one online multiplayer game I did. But, bye, good night, have fun sleeping. Honestly, I think I'm gonna do the same. I'm kaput. So, the question was, do I want to come back tomorrow and stream something or do something? It's because I do want to figure out Blender a little bit. Well, it's dependent on whether I actually watch the video on how to use Blender before, but you're not gonna sleep. It's coming up on like 3 in the morning, right? Nah, everybody's stronger and better and faster than me. I'm embracing it. I'm like, I'm a tiny old man. I'm gonna be a tiny old man for a long time. I'm gonna look like a small child for a long time. When I am, in fact, a tiny old man instead. Okay. So, the question is, do I want to work on 3D modeling tomorrow? which is really just dependent on whether I finish a video. No, I wanted to work on the dumb dad blasted mother flipping YouTube video. I wanted to work on a YouTube video for... Okay, I don't need that up anymore. This. I want to try this, so... 3 a.m. is your limit? Yeah, okay. I woke up an hour ago. And then you decided to stay up? I was like, because I wake up in the middle of the night. I've been waking up more recently because I've been overhydrating. But I think it's kind of better than underhydrating. So yeah, see, and then I get tired and I'm like, I just want to play a game. Let's pull up some of this. Oops, oh no. It's like, no, I'm gonna get sucked into that for too long, so. Very tempting, but I won't. Man, and I know no German. Oh yeah, I should think about doing... Okay, okay, maybe I'll make a note. Okay, what are the things that I want to accomplish here? The next things I want to do. So I'm not coming back tomorrow. I'll be back Wednesday with a stream of something. I don't actually know, but I'll be back on Wednesday streaming something. Because tomorrow I want to work on the Pirate Software Jam YouTube video. Wow. And then the scheduling content. So what content do I want to make and schedule and stuff? Yeah, because it is just scheduling. Now I know what content I want to make based on this. Now I just gotta figure out a schedule for putting it out there, but Guten Nacht. Yeah, and I don't know how to do a good accent either. I cannot pronunciate. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Done got educated at Pubba School. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take off too, so. And like I said, I'll be back Wednesday. I will do that. But bye. Good night. Have fun sleeping. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck. Bye. Thanks, Stream Elements. Okay, bye.